Everybody, welcome to FMA Talk Live. I'm your host, Dr. Tim, and this is my co-host.
Peachy Ties here. Welcome.
It's going to be a fun episode tonight. We've got a little international flavor. We got someone from Canada. Someone might argue that's the 51st state, but we'll talk about that later. And who do I got calling in? Remember, if you're saying hello, let us know what part of the world you're coming in from. And Eric is the first one today from Portland, Oregon. Hey, Eric, how you doing?
Hey, Eric.
All right. Want to talk about Terrell. He's been waiting for this episode. And then Jeremy. Nice. The Terrell's from Maryland. Jeremy, Northern Ontario. And then here we go, another Ontarian, Mr. Hilt.
Well, that'll be good. They'll get to know Craig a little bit.
Or they already trained with him and they're just trying to support him. Trying to make me think we like it. Hey, there's Frank. Actually,
hey.
That's
hey, Frank.
Look at that. You see, I love Frank's profile photo. Looks just like him.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what happened this weekend. Hey, Miguel Ruby, how you doing, brother? I got to talk to you about. I'm going to the gathering. I want to talk to you about that. So we'll get into that. So here's the deal. We as in Ty and I, invaded Connecticut. Middletown, Connecticut. Cromwell Martial Arts, which used to be in Cromwell, Connecticut, moved to Middletown. Okay. So we did the first Connecticut Modern Arnis Triple Threat Seminar. Hey, Brian from Erie, PA. There we go.
Oh, nice.
So, so Ty and I and Frank all taught together. Real interesting whether it was going to happen or not. Weather was crazy. I can't tell you the nonsense that I was dealing with getting out there. We did have a bunch of people canceled due to the weather, although a whole bunch of other people showed up that weren't initially planning on because the weather, Saturday was phenomenal, but some of the people were coming down from Massachusetts. I drove through that. It got hit hard. It definitely got hit hard. So we're already talking. We'll have to see what questions you ask him. I haven't already. Okay, well, that's interesting. So it was a good time had by all. We're already, Dean Franco from FMA Discussion. He covered the event and actually did an interviewed us afterwards. And looks like we're going to do another one. So we're going to talk about the details of that amongst ourselves, and he'll let us know what's going on. What happened just before going out there, I thought it was Boston. I was invited to teach in Salem, Massachusetts. So I'm going to burn a witch, or maybe two, or be burned at the stake. Actually, I think it's more the latter. I'll probably be burnt.
Who's in Salem again?
What?
Who's in Salem again?
That is the Williams, Mike and May Williams. It's right. Mari Martial Art Research Institute in Salem, Massachusetts. So let me do something while we're talking about it. See if I can pull this up and make this happen. My mouse is getting real temperamental today. Just want to put a shout out so people know. If you didn't know, Joseph Simonet just passed away. He's one of the West Coast icons of martial arts. It's a shame. I'm not sure what the details were, but say a little prayer out there. And let me... Tyr, why don't you come here and stop chewing on my clothing? Hey, buddy. Everyone's like, why is Datu Tim whistling to us? Okay. Oh, that's that. And here we go. I'm going to share this while this loads up. I'm just waiting for a moment. So, hey, did you see the photo I tagged you in today? You're on the symposium flyer.
Sure. Yep.
So, RIP. Yep. All right. This is what's going on. I need to see what my dog is chewing. Hold on one moment.
No, that's right. Yes. So March 26th. Tomorrow is March, so what? 4 weeks? Less than 4 weeks
Last
away.
weekend of the month.
Yep, less than 4 weeks
Come here,
away.
baby. So,
Nice. And Sifu Lavad is their instructor, right?
I think that's the case. And then we also have Master Ben Hernando, which I have no clue who he is. I may have met him. I don't know. But that is the last weekend of March. And then you will be joining us in actually Mike and his lovely wife May, along with you and Dean Franco, and Steve LaFarve will be executing the FMA invasion at the New Hampshire Martial Arts Symposium.
Great. That'll be good. That'll be really good. Those are always fun.
Yeah. So, come here, buddy. Stop it. Oh, my goodness. Man, my dogs are worse than children. You can send your children to your room, but the dogs, not so much. I'm on my rant, because I have my rant. You know, it was really good. I did some video on the way home. I was in a car for probably 16 plus hours this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So I drove down to Connecticut, which was, interesting. Went through Albany and went down into Massachusetts to Springfield, made a stop there, drove down Middletown, or actually Torrington, and then went down to Middletown. Actually, I guess Dean Franco lives right by Torrington. Then I went back up to Torrington before the seminar, came back down, went out to Waterford, Connecticut. Then I went out to Warwick, Rhode Island, then drove back. So I started the morning at 9 a.m. driving. I got home at 8 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me a lot of time to think and do soul searching. And, I know people may I know there was comments, but I felt that I was distracted from last week. And there was a couple things that were bugging on that happened that really bugged me. And my rant, even you said after the show, was like, that was a rant? I thought, where's the rant? So I figured out what I wanted to say, and I just didn't want to open it up because it was so new, and I didn't want to go off on too much on this. So, and just not have time to think about this as I silence my phone and stuff like that. So, here's my thing I've been having problems with lately, and I see all these people with all these promotions and all this other stuff, and I know a couple of the people have not asked for anything. They were just surprise promotions, and more of some people, playing some king-making moves and all this other stuff. And, and I've had some people talk to me saying, well, why don't I get along with the community? And I've taken time to think about this, and I do get along with the community. People misunderstand who the community is and who isn't. So when we talk about people like the Motts or Dan Anderson or Dieter, Bram Frank, Bruce Chu, bunch of people. Some of those people I get along with, some of them I don't. Yourself, Chad, Craig, who's going to be on the show. We've got leaders and influencers of the industry. I don't consider them the community. They're the leaders and the influencers of the community. The community are our members. And what I've been getting sick of lately is that a lot of the leaders forgetting their place and what their role is. And, I looked at, we had this conversation because I have multiple people training from other styles, and one of which was I've got a couple Kempo guys. Mm-hmm. And we're always like, hey, well, why did this happen? I mean, in Parker's Kempo, when Parker passed away, this happened. Why didn't it happen with Modern and all this other stuff? And we can go with one of the reasons, like Modern Arnis should have exploded. Mm-hmm. It blew up a little and then shrunk real quick. And has been deteriorating from that point on. Hey, Billy, how are you doing?
Oh, nice.
Gandang
umaga.
Okay, now all right, I got to get on the right screen. Hey. So when I was talking, I was talking to Rob Guida about it today. He was like, well, why didn't that happen? I go, well, I had to think about it for a couple reasons. And one of which, the biggest challenge I had the only full-time Modern Arnis. I had the only Modern Arnis school out there. There's a bunch of schools that offered Modern Arnis, but they weren't Modern Arnis schools. So when the founder passed away, people went back to their primary system. So you can't fault that for anybody. Mm-hmm. But the problem was when Parker died, his people, they went out and tried to recruit people to their organization. Where the bunch of people in Modern Arnis I saw kind of wondered why people didn't come running to them. I've even had comments where one person, I was talking to someone from a particular state where there's multiple Modern Arnis programs in that metropolitan area. And we were talking about an instructor in that area, an independent. And they're like, well, I don't know why he doesn't come and visit me. And I'm just thinking to myself, why didn't you go visit them? You know, and the thing here is the community needs to be led and serviced. We are there to help them. They are not there to worship us. And, you know, when people talk about putting people up in this leader and influence, well, we defined it, you know, influencers, because a lot of people, I think, were giving people credit who are influencers that didn't have people, because to be a leader, you must have followers, you know. But lately I've been seeing all these promotions, and it's been really annoying me that we've got like 20 Modern Arnis Grandmasters when there should have only been one, or well, there was only one. And in the program, it was set up that there could only be one at one time. So, you know, so when I see multiple ones, I know not everyone agrees with me on this, but, you know, 20 GMs, and it goes to me like, for what reason? Especially when I see most of these people are worrying about themselves and not serving the community. And I think the biggest thing right now is that annoys me, and I've been trying to come up with the words to say this, is that, you know, what we have to do as far as for the community. I service the community. Ty, you help me service the community. What do? Let's think about the show. How many people have we had on that are not members of our organization and not students of mine? So Frank, right? Okay.
Ed
Lauren Therian.
Yep. Carl Minkle. Yep.
Joe Rebello.
Yep.
Okay, we had 5 right there. Now, I'm not saying I'm not friends with these people. Well, Lauren and I are not friends, but we're not enemies either. We've just known each other, and I think I could be Lauren's friend. Ed was a student of someone that I didn't like, but every time I've been around Ed, we've always gotten along great. Mm-hmm. And hey, they're rich. But what do? We put them on the show. We gave them an opportunity to have a voice. Mm-hmm. Promote their schools. We didn't ask for money or anything, because what we're doing is we're always doing this to promote the community. In our organization, I've got 3rd generation black belts out there teaching the art in seminars and or classes. We've put things together to keep the organization moving forward, or the art moving forward. Mm-hmm. Hey, Roman. But what I see in a lot of places is that it seems like we're the only ones that are doing it stateside. I mean, I left due to, my opinion, a coup. Very obvious that no one followed the will. And now we've got the largest non-government sponsored Modern Arnis organization out there in the world. Why? Because we help our members do things. And one of our next guest is going to be part of that, because now he's doing so. He's traveled around the globe with me. He's doing things on his own. He's actually a candidate in Dog Brothers, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. But, you know, with everything said and done, this is something that's been irking me. I've been trying to figure out how to say this in a way that makes sense, and my frustration. And we talked a little about this last night on the show, on Dean's show, or the other night on Dean's show, talking about, that we're here to help the community. That's what a leader does. You know, we're like politicians. Well, no. Well, actually, some of us are a lot like politicians that are worrying about themselves and not their followers. You know, we need to be there to service the community. We're there to lead them, to help them, to give them the support they need. And if we're not, we should get out of the way and let those who are willing to do that do it. And when I see all these attaboy, I promote you, you promote me stuff. It's just annoying, especially when the whole GM thing. There should have only been one, and until we get behind one or there's one person standing, I'm still gonna stay that. So that's my rant. Hopefully, people are getting a better idea where I'm coming from on certain things. You got anything?
I got nothing. I just got distracted. I just saw a logo being used that I'm not sure is set. But anyway.
Is it one of your logos?
One that I paid for.
And someone is using it?
Yep.
Is it somebody I know?
Maybe.
You have to send me the link later.
Yep.
It could be on one of those websites that here's free artwork.
That's probably what happened, yeah.
Yeah, and usually you take that down. So, all right. So we're going to talk about sparring today. It's not just Modern Arnis. There are a lot of Filipino styles that I see that don't fight. But why doesn't Modern Arnis fight? Can it be fought with? And or can it be used to fight? And we'll go from there. So first of all, here's our guest, Punong Guro Tye Mason from Sudbury, Ontario, Sudbury Martial Arts and Sudbury FMA. Sudbury is 4 hours north of Toronto, and we're just going to hop right into it. He fights Dog Brothers with Modern Arnis, using Modern Arnis, and does quite well. And we'll talk about all these aspects. Part of this thing is that why certain FMA groups don't fight, and I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not going to name them per se. But Modern Arnis is one of them as a whole that doesn't, and trying to figure out why and can it be done. And obviously, PG Craig here is proof that it can be done because we do it. So, PG Craig, welcome to the show.
Evening. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Good. Ty, I'm going to have you take point for a little bit while I, or you're sending me that. He's one of mine.
No worries.
I know. Okay, no, I know exactly what happened, and I was going to send him different artwork.
No worries.
Okay.
But you got to pay attention to those things because some people don't realize.
Yeah. He's actually just signed up for group lessons with me.
Awesome.
Virtual. So I will take care of that. I was gonna. You know what? I was trying to figure out whose logo that was.
Yeah.
That looks awful familiar.
Yep. No worries.
Okay.
So welcome, Craig. Haven't seen you for a while. How long has it been?
Probably since your event.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, that was
I
good.
was there.
Yep, they let you out of the country. They let you out of the country.
Yeah.
Well, actually, so I'm glad that you're on here. I'm excited to have folks get to know you a little better. But I want to give you a chance right off the bat. Do you want to lead in with anything? Anything you want to make sure that people know right off the bat? What should they know about Sparring Modern Arnis, or you, or what you bring, or why you do what you do? Any of those things real quickly. I know we haven't interviewed you as a regular interview, but just to touch on, from starting point.
Well, I guess starting point, like I was, actually Datu and I were actually, when we went on our trip down to your neck of the woods, we were actually talking and reminiscing in terms of when I actually first picked up a stick. So like my first exposure was back in October of '96, and then I read Datu and Professor Remy in actually May of '99. So I've actually been doing Modern Arnis actually longer than I thought I have been. And then met the London crew, specifically Paul Dowdy. Datu was there, and then fast forward a few years later, I've been basically traveled down to Buffalo and been with basically the World Modern Arnis ever since. And I guess coming from the background, like Sudbury as a whole was a karate town. Okay, Bob Dalglish bought martial arts in the '70s, and back when I first started, we would basics, forms, and spar. That was what we did, and obviously empty hand base. So when I first got the exposure and I got to pick up a padded stick and got to do some sparring at Datu's place, I was like, this is pretty cool. Outside of just drilling, I really enjoyed it. And then years later, I met a gentleman. Actually, it's one of Philip Jelinas' students. I actually lived up close to Sturgeon Falls, actually, and I met him down at a Leo Guy seminar. And from there, he said, "You got to come down. You got to try sparring, Craig." And of course, there was always that stigma a lot of times because I only did a little bit of padded sparring. I did empty hand sparring. That stigma is about getting hit with a chunk of rattan.
Right.
And then in 2009, Rene Kokolo had the Canadian Dog Brother Camp, and actually Andre was my first fight. And of course, I had no gear, no nothing. I just had a set of sticks, got some used helmets from actually Top Dog. And I have the video of my first fight, and Andre just hit me literally the last second of the fight. And all you see is my helmet going flying off my head. And I was like, then you realize, and then it was like, okay, now you're testing your material. And then over time, I've met a lot of different people from all different aspects. We do the lab and lair down at Datu's place. I've done padded stick, padded continuous. We did the WeCaf blend with the kicks down at Sam Wolf's tournament.
The Arnold Classic.
Yeah. And then I've had a lot of exposure fighting with basically the people that do the live stick contact fighting, through the Dog Brother group in Ontario. And over probably the last 5+ years, my focus has been taking our core material and trying to apply it in that particular type of setting. And that's a major focus. And, actually doing martial art technique in that, in that situation and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And, when you're fighting with a live stick, when it doesn't work.
Right. So you'd done some padded sparring before, and of course you sparred in the karate areas.
Yes.
So did you ever do full contact karate sparring, or was always the point padded sparring before?
No, I never got into that venue. I did basically. It was called continuous fighting, and it was basically like a medium contact type fighting, but I never got into it.
As far as continuous goes, having seen the Canadians fight and then do a lot of divisions, it's not much further stretch from kickboxing. It's just it's kickboxing light because control kind of goes out the window.
Okay, so it's like old school tournament scene.
When I came up through the ranks, you saw a lot of people get folded in half, and you got a few people get clocked pretty good. And back in the 80s too, you didn't really have much sparring gear. You had basically those foam shin instep, and basically you bought 2 sets, one for your feet and one for your hands, and that's what you basically used.
Right.
It wasn't quite Kyokushin karate, but I mean, I would definitely say that the continuous fighting that Craig would do would be considered kickboxing light. Definitely above point fighting contact.
And that's what I'm part of the basically Waco organization now through the school, and they have all those different aspects to allow everybody to kind of find out where they like. You can go the kick light, you can go the full contact, you can go K1, you can go all that aspect.
All right. So I was gonna say, going back to this, Arnis sparring of any sort. Where do you fall on kind of preferences, or do you see value to every single one? And even if you do see value to every type of sparring, do you have a preferred one that you like just in general?
Yeah, I see a value in all of them. And when basically the way I structure my kids spar, and that's more basically point, and I focus more on the point with the kids, and then we'll do continuous rounds, especially when we mix weapons, because we'll actually spar single stick, double stick, padded sword, padded staff. So obviously, and I've even got the shields, so I'll get the kids mixed with that. For me, I enjoy all aspects, but I do enjoy the continuous live stick. In terms of that aspect, that way, you're working that bridging the gap, working the long range, working the medium range, working the close range, kind of mixing it all up. And then depending on what attribute we're working on, like on the one night a week, we focus. All we do is we take an aspect out of our drills, and we focus on that, and then we apply it in a sparring setting with somebody attacking you on a random strikes, and then the only thing you can do is either retreat, block, and the only counter you're allowed to do is that aspect of the drill. And then you can see where the missings are, or where you have to time things differently.
Sure.
And that's one thing that we really been focusing on for quite a while, actually. And it seems to pull out the martial technique, where it's not, because most of the time is we drill, right? Because we got some phenomenal drills that develop some amazing reactions from tappy all the way to the blunt walk aspect. But then all of a sudden you put a headgear on, gloves, and give somebody a stick, and you just start wailing on each other. Technique goes out the window.
Right.
So when I fight, I like to see how technical I can be in a fight and still be practical and apply the material.
Sure.
All right, so I'm gonna hop in here. My co-host is she's giving me a little nudging here, whispering in my ear. So we're gonna start off. There's two parts to this. Part one: why doesn't Modern Arnis fight, or other Filipino systems for that matter? Why don't they fight? And then can they fight? So let's talk about the first part. And this is something all three of us can jump in on. Yeah. And what Jeremy put in is Waco or Waco actually calls it kick light now, but no headshots.
Okay.
So, so I actually, while Remy was alive, had Randy Shea go to me that, well, Remy and I were talking about doing a tournament, and he goes, we can get sponsorship. And I was already doing tournaments and fighting. The late Rudy Casico would go to Toronto and go to his events, and he supported my events, and we had a blast. And I said, listen, I'm getting back into hosting something, right? Oh, we'll get the airlines to, donate the ticket for the winners. We take it to the Philippines, because Remy was getting ready to do a camp in the Philippines. And Randy Shea and I talked about it. He practically called me a liar. And if it was Tim Hartman today, I would have said there, are you calling me a liar? Let's get Remy involved with this. You say, well, Modern Arnis doesn't, right? Remy doesn't like fighting. Modern Arnis doesn't fight. But if anyone has the Pink Book, you know that the Pink Book has the rules of stick fighting in the book. The very first book has Modern Arnis in the name. Because I think the first book was The Practical Art of a Screamer. That was the white book. The Pink Book, Modern Arnis, was in the name. And that has the rules of sparring in the back, or the rules of tournament. So if Remy didn't like tournament, why would he have that rule set in there? So, and I pointed out recently, and I'll keep pointing this out, my school had grapplers in it, but we weren't a grappling school. I've got Shrinji Kempo guys subletting from me. We're not a Shrinji Kempo school. I've had a Capoeira group in there at one time. I've had Sambo in there at one time. But all the time, it's been a Arnis school. I can grapple. Actually, we do a lot of stand-up in modern, but I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since the 90s. Still a white belt with stripes, but the fact of the matter is, because I can grapple, that doesn't make me a grappler. So, we look at the stick. Modern Arnis, as a whole, does not fight. Now, obviously, the three of us all do. So, when we start talking about this, I know that Joe Rebello might log in and go, well, don't tell this that Modern Arnis doesn't fight because of Doug Pierre. I'll tell it to Doug Pierre and everyone else right to their face, because they're the exception, not the norm. And we got to sit there, and when we talk about things, we can't look at this 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 exception to something. What is the norm? So my question to you, and Modern Arnis is not the only system that I don't see that fights stick. Okay. Balint walk is one of them. It's another art that I do. I'll have to think. It'll have to come to me. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I know there's other arts that they just don't fight as a whole. There's groups in their groups that do. Like, we're a group inside of Modern Arnis that fights. So why do you think that Modern Arnis and some of these other systems of Filipino martial arts don't fight? Like going into tournaments and stuff of that nature, or scrimmaging with scrimmaging with other schools. I think maybe the tournament we should take off the table and talk about scrimmaging, because you don't have to. Someone might say, well, I don't like weak half style fighting, and I'll be the first one to agree with that. I don't like it. But it's a platform, and if some people like it, just like, do you like point karate or do you like continuous karate? Okay. So why do you think, using Modern Arnis and as one example, why don't you think our people fight as a whole, or the Modern Arnis community as a whole?
Oh, it's kind of a hard question, I guess, based on what their emphasis in the school is. Because I know, like, I came up from a background that we fought all the time. Yeah, I was empty-handed because basically the karate base. You know, when I started training on Datu, was that there was a big emphasis in the sparring.
Well, our black belt requirement is that you fight.
Yeah, and I remember going to war with Ryan on one of our trainings.
Well, and now what I do is I make okay. So we used to do the fighting at the test, and since then I've said no. Since there's enough of us now, like yourself, you can run scrimmages in your school, and all I need is an instructor to say, hey, listen, and most likely we've all sparred with somebody at one time or another, or watched them spar.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that on a test, because shit goes sideways in sparring in that kind of condition. So let's keep it sane. But okay, Ty, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think a large portion is probably the idea of, hey, if you're doing training as an adjunct and you're adding on, you're committed to your, we'll say kung fu. I'm a kung fu guy. Committed to your kung fu and your school there, and you got a lot of sparring in there of whatever sport that you're, whatever branch of style that you do. But you're learning this as an add-on, right? Some schools will have weapons programs. Those usually don't spar, and so learning Arnis for those schools, I think probably the standard assumption is that, we're doing empty hand sparring. I'm learning this extra weapon stuff. I'm not interested. So I think if you're doing an add-on, there's a built-in kind of predisposition to not sparring. Not saying that they are against it, but it probably, in some cases, doesn't occur to people.
Well, I think the big thing right there is you nailed it. My opinion on this is that since Modern Arnis isn't, or using modern or Balintawak or fill in the blanks is not their primary system, they don't want to spend all the extra money for the gear needed.
That too.
For something that they will do once in a great while. So I do the armored, or I do Saber Combat League. So I actually fight with the hardcore lightsabers. So there's, and people ask me, why would you do that? Why would you do Star Wars stuff? Are you a Star Wars fan? Well, duh.
Because it's fun?
I got a whole bunch of lightsabers on my wall, but the cool thing is there's a bunch of brands out there, and I use Ultra Sabers, and Craig has a couple pairs of Ultra Sabers, and they make blades that you can actually fight against a wooden shinai with.
Yep.
And we use them to do demos. Hey, Darren.
Well, people forget sparring's fun. All sparring is fun.
Exactly.
And when I did the lightsaber stuff, Mr. Kimura teaches formerly Shrinji Kempo. Now he does Goshin Kempo in my club. And I asked him when we were talking about, I like long weapon fighting. I can't do that with our sticks. But the sabers I can. And I've got a HEMA helmet, and I've got a steel gorget and all this protective gear, because these weapons will split you open. And I could do kendo. And I said, Mr. Kimura, tell these guys how much a set can cost. Well, you can get a cheap. No. Don't tell me. Don't tell me the cheap set. He goes, yeah, one of my guys here has a set of armor and sword and everything. It's $10,000, and he knows a guy in Japan that has a $15,000 set. Well, I only spent like $300 to $500 to get everything I need, and I can do HEMA. The only thing I need is better gloves if I'm going to do HEMA. And I've done some HEMA, so I did some steel sword fighting when I'm with these saber guys. So I go down to Cross Sword Academy or Cross Point. Tom Amoroso down in Columbus. So he does HEMA tournaments, long sword, saber, all this other stuff. I had a blast using real steel and actually cutting with the blade and doing all the techniques that we do from Filipino martial arts with that blade. So let me see what Mr. Hiltz wrote here.
He has a good point.
Maybe not enough experience themselves in developing sparring / drills using platforms and rules set around sparring. Sounds like a PD course, wink, wink. Okay.
Well, I think Ty kind of hit it, you know, on when if it's being added to their core art, they're adding drills to kind of enhance their core base. Where when I started training, I went as a full art, and part of the aspect was we fought. But you know, yeah.
Well, I will say this. I'm going to do a couple things. So I'm going to talk about integrity of a system as we go. Remind me to go back on that.
Yeah.
But right now, what has been Johnny come lately is padded weapon fighting. The core has always been the weak half style fighting. So you need the helmet, which is $100 to $150. You need the chest protector,
Right.
which is about another $80 to $100. You're going to need gloves. And that's not all the others. And some of these guys, now then you see the fighting in the tournaments, they wear hockey pants so it doesn't hurt them, which seems to me cheating to me.
Yeah.
But so there's minimum requirements for safety equipment, but not maximum requirements. I know a lot of people say, no, we don't wear that extra stuff. I know you don't. But the problem is you have a bunch of rules, and when you don't enforce them, certain things go sideways, and people compete for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem you run into, we'll do as on the integrity side. Here's what I see. When people are stick fighting, say, weak half style, I don't see them doing their art anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to integrity of what they're doing, they throw it out. Like I've seen Balintawak people fight weak half. They're not doing Balintawak. They're changing their style to fit the game. But then again, think about sport karate. For all those you guys have seen that, you'll see people do their forms and their katas and all this other stuff. And the only people I see that try to fight their art is the kung fu people. And then when they find out it doesn't work, then they change and start hopping around like everyone else, and they all look like kickboxers. Because fighting another trained martial artist is different than defending yourself using these other fighting systems.
Right. Well,
So,
and each individual rule set is going to have a optimized set of kind of generic principles.
when it comes to competing, I prefer point because it's much easier to see. And I'm thinking about a bigger picture. The spectators understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Continuous is the way I prefer to train because I don't want to end with just one shot.
Sure.
But if you want to get that first shot capability, that's where point or first blood.
Yeah.
It's funny when you say point, people poo-poo it. When you say it's first blade rules, everyone agree. I go, what's the difference? We use the word blade.
Yeah.
Like you morons, stop it.
Nice.
So here we go. Jeremy, frequent sparring is a major factor of deciding to train with Craig. So okay. Fencing mask and lacrosse, $100. See now, and yeah, and I understand that, but here's a problem. And I use a fencing mask. Don't get me wrong, but once you go commercial, as in like you have a professional school, which if you listen to FMA discussion this weekend, we'll be talking about it. We did this. Craig was part of it. We were going to do the what was it called? World Stick Fighting League?
Stick Fighting World or Stick Fighting
World, which was literally cage stick fighting. It was actually they're doing it in the Philippines, and it just seems awful coincidental. It was almost identical to what we were doing, but whatever. So we did it with a tank. We took out we didn't. I was the commissioner for a period of time. They got rid of the chain and they put acrylic walls up. And I actually ran up the side of the wall and hit people with it, and then people started copying me because a lot of them were my guys. So they were using a weak half helmets, and someone sat there and said, well, I know they're not made for that purpose, but you might want to consider these types of helmets. Right. And then I was like, but when a lawsuit hits and you go, Your Honor, I know they're not designed for this, but they work well, and that's what you have run into. But yes, for padded stick fighting, you need to do that's good. But here's the thing with problem with this, Lamont. Many people do FMA as an add-on program. Here's the difference. See, Remy, he was smart. He didn't teach Filipino martial arts. He taught you how to become a better martial artist by adding Filipino martial arts to your base. But where I see other Filipino martial artists, they tell you, they teach the system the way it's supposed to be. They don't, try not to compromise anything. They're pretty purist with this. But then they say, for your open hand combatives, go elsewhere because we don't have them. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of like the same. It's a similar approach to what Remy did. Now, if you're elsewhere, let's say you're a karate guy or a taekwondo guy and you're doing Arnis, you might not want to spend that kind of money for gear that you might not use all the time.
Right.
What I do now is I've got the foam helmets for my students, which they can use in tournaments. And then we buy a shield from Tiger Claw that works really well, and it'll fit on almost any helmet out there. Craig's seen them, and the kids have been using them. We haven't had any problems with them. So now instead of buying 2 separate helmets, and they're using their normal foam sparring gear, all they got to do is add the face shield, which if you're fighting with NASCAR or something, you have to have a face shield on anyways. So it's just adding to the equipment already. And I don't think some people have been trying to problem solve this. I mean, I've been teaching FMA since '86. So I'm always trying to figure out what I got to do next. Ever since I got it hooked into sparring, I'm trying to figure out how to get everyone to do it in a safe manner, especially because it's on my insurance. So, Wow, Craig looks really happy.
That's right.
With all the resting bitch face.
Usually
that's my resting bitch face. And hey, we got Renee. This is the head of the Toro clan, who was instrumental in getting Craig, welcoming Craig into the Dog Brothers, and actually invited him in. Craig is a candidate dog, which we'll talk about that. And yes, it is evening. I'm glad you understand that it's nighttime, Renee.
Even again.
And brother Harry, looking forward to seeing you soon. So, evening. He's gonna give me so much shit when we have him on the show. I love it.
I liked what was it, you or Craig? I can't remember who said that, talking about the idea of sparring as scrimmage. One of the things that people always get spun around on is this type of sparring is no good, or this kind of sparring is no good, that kind of sparring is no good. Let's just start with the first part. People should be going in a situation where you have non-compliant scrimmaging somewhere. They get some sort of benefit about what they're doing. And it can be a lot of different forms, but it can't be driver-passenger. It can't be even corridas, if we're looking
at Are you trying to say that tappy is not sparring?
Right, or corridas is not sparring also. It doesn't matter. Not corridas the style, but corridas, blunt walk drill.
You mean like the groupings?
Right.
Okay.
So, but I mean, it can't be, and those aren't exactly compliant, right? Sometimes you're mixing it up, but one person, it's not the same as free sparring, right? So you need some sort of free scrimmaging from both sides. Yeah. And that's what I call sparring, right? And so that's what I think is very beneficial. You need that challenge.
So I will say tappy and the groupings, because tappy was inspired by Balintawak, which actually, Ty, why don't you share what the word means?
Which one?
Tappy. Because you found this out recently. Someone helped us recently.
Right. I was talking to our friend Grandmaster Unding de Leon, and from his perspective, as far as what he knows, and he's a Tagalog native speaker, he says it comes from tapik, and tapik is one. It comes from the word tapik, which is tapping or touching or patting, right? All of those things.
So the word tappy, as we say it, is T-A-P-I, tapik. You add a K at the end. So I can easily see how they dropped the K.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said. It was actually to just make it easier to say fast twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we looked it up online, and it literally says to pat or tap.
Okay.
Now, we know that tappy as the drill in Modern Arnis, the motto or the mindset is to counter the counter. But what the word literally translates to is not counter the counter.
Right.
So, yes. So to me, tappy, groupings and stuff of that nature is just accelerated pad drills.
Yeah, and they're great for that.
Right.
It's amazing.
But we don't fight when I'm doing a pad drill. I might throw a punch or two to get you to respond, but at the end of the day, it's a pad drill.
Right.
So develop reaction and timing and a lot of that stuff.
And I do all these, including sombrado drill. That's a back and forth drill. Once again, compliant. These are all the things that I do. And I say, well, wait a minute. Well, then why are you doing this? Because this is how I build my skill. Right. There are people out there that say, after training all this stuff for decades, I only do what is useful. I'm like, okay, but you're teaching people. Yes. So you've got decades of material that helped build you, that got you to where you are today, right. And you're going to cheat your students by not giving them access of the same experience levels.
Well, they distilled it for them, see?
Right. So, I mean, like the thing with Bruce Lee, people got to remember, he started in Jeet Kune Do. I mean, he started in Wing Chun. Or I don't know if he started, but he did Wing Chun.
Right.
He had a foundation. And I remember remember Doug Marcada was at an event we were at. And we were talking, and we're teaching, and I talked about how we did stuff, and like we have Sinwali, just like and I tried to include all their Filipino systems, like what Doug was doing. I was like, oh no, we just innovate, and I bit my tongue. I was like, but it's not innovation if you have to innovate from structure, like a Sinwali. Yeah. If you don't have the Sinwali and you're just doing innovation, that's just chaos. Mm-hmm. And anyways, you were teaching Sinwali earlier, so stop.
Right.
So let's
yeah. I think people love to play with words, right? So one of the things is, even if you're going to break your Sinwali drill, you're going to break your sombrado, you're going to break your tapi, you're going to break in your groupings. That's just a one shot. That's random. You might do it under your vortex of violence, if you will. But again, that's not sparring. That would be a one shot, right?
Exactly. Because there's predetermined movements, right?
If you break it, it wouldn't be. But it wouldn't go to sparring, because then it's not whoever broke out of it and controlled it. Now it's no longer, again, free and open response. Now, one of the things so I don't know about you, Craig. I when I'm doing sparring, whether it's with sticks or whatever we're doing, double sticks, empty hand, I don't care. One of the things I also do, and I think you had touched on this, is when you're sparring, you limit some of the possibilities. But still, the timing is up to everybody. The targeting is up to everybody. The interactions and choices are fairly free opening within that limitation. So I think limited sparring is still sparring in the sense of that kind of scrimmage, even if it's limited to promote some aspect of your attributes, like what you said, is to bring in the precision, or to bring in just one aspect. I still think, for maybe sometimes it's for comfort, right? What I have people do at the beginning is some hand sparring, because then it's a target that they are a little less scared of, and they can start playing with things. And then you can work.
Here we go. Wait for it. Jeremy, shut up. I don't give a damn. It still was. He did something from structure.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in school, he would have studied tantuis, it's another style of kung fu. It's been the school system.
Oh, so screw you. And then and the vortex of violence is my term.
Yep.
That's me. Trademark.
There was a TM, after it.
TM.
But it's a good term, because drills are great to give you that context to work in things, but it's still not sparring.
And that's a good point, and then if you take those aspects and develop those specific little attributes, regardless whether it's just limb sparring and you're working on that timing and targeting, or you're working on a specific drill, and then now it's free for all, full blown out sparring,
right? And
then you start to see where the technique starts to come in,
right?
But because I remember, all right, we're gonna fight. And you're like, no, all right. And you just see people wailing. It's rock'em sock'em robots,
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, drills. Okay. Modern Arnis is tappy. Balintawak should be doing Correas and Quintada. Or Correda. Correda should be that thing that Balintawak's doing. For those who are more the original style. It's still controlled, but those things can build all the attributes to help us. So, okay, let's flip this around. Well, before we flip it around completely, so my theory here is that since this is a secondary art for most people, and they do something else, they don't put the extra money in. And then there's this stigma of using padded sticks a lot of times.
Right.
And hell, we did it at the last two gatherings at your place, Ty, and it was fun. The comment, oh my God, my cardio sucks. It was the first time after COVID I fought.
Right.
But I hadn't backyard spar in decades.
Yep.
And there was a couple of guys I fought that left some stingers on me. I mean, because we used a hit stick, a padded hit stick, which is the much firmer ones. Hey there, Joe.
Hey.
Much firmer padded sticks. And I'm like, bang. I'm like, oh, that's when I'm going to leave a mark for,
Right.
And, those guys were swinging for me because I went out and I said, hey, let's play.
Right.
And Pat's like, oh, I got you first. Okay, let's play.
Right.
And did good. Went back and forth. And I had a blast. The guys had a good time, and and it wasn't what I'm used to. When we were in the Philippines the last time, I fought there, got groined with a wooden stick. Wasn't used to that either.
Right.
But the thing here is, I'm a gamer. I don't like doing the weak calf because I know too many people just kick it into cardio gear, and they'll beat people that are better martial artists because they're better physical athletes. They have better cardio, and I'm like, I don't want an aerobics competition. I want to fight.
Right.
So let me see here. Hold on a second. Been on Facebook and nobody sees my comments.
Interesting. Well, we had told people too, right? I guess it's a little bit smoother coming from YouTube.
Yeah, you definitely want to hop on through YouTube, or maybe we just been ignoring you, Joe.
I looked back. I didn't see any of his, so that is weird. Hopefully, no one else is in that boat. If you are, try to go on. If you are on that boat and we haven't responded to you,
and Jeremy points out a good thing there. If you're not, if your primary art doesn't spar, why would your secondary art spar?
Yeah.
Okay. 8 comments later, I'm here now. Okay. Quick, everybody, switch channels.
That's right.
I find the padded sticks are misleading. They have a lot more. Yes, they have a lot more weight. I accidentally knocked a couple of people out with them. Yeah.
Yep.
The hit sticks through Action Flex, they are amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I've actually had worse injuries with padded sticks than live sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me see. I heard you mention me and responded. So you do that. Okay. So I have lacrosse gloves for live stick. And they were just there. I put them on. Okay, I'll just do the padded stick fighting with it. And really, I was leaving my hands out so the kids would. And I was fighting with kids. I wanted them to hit my hands more. I wanted them to target my hands more.
Yeah.
Well, here's the sad. Okay, so with a lacrosse glove, the thumb sticks out a little.
Yep.
With a padded stick, it melds to the thumb and then pushes it back real quick.
Mm.
Where a live stick would just deflect it off and I've been okay. I'm like, I jam my thumb more with a padded stick than anything else.
Mm.
Let me see here. So let me add several points. Since you mentioned Doug here, so bring him on the show. No. So anyways, actually, we have a list of people. I'd be open to having Doug on the show. But I've got no interest in doing it now because right now we're focusing on one of the reasons why Craig's on today. He's one of the instructors on the upcoming 65th anniversary camp. So this is also part of Come to Meet to Know You. And Doug's not on the staff, so I'm focusing on people who are going to be there teaching and stuff of that nature. So and hello, Mr. Wolf.
Man.
So all right. So I think some systems have become more art form.
Mm.
Some systems, the instructors may be protecting the integrity of the art because once again, like if you're going to fight weak calf, you got to fight weak calf style.
Mm. Right.
Now Ryan Monolopoulos, who we will be having on the show, and just played the body double for the stunt double for William Dafoe as the Green Goblin in this last Spider-Man movie.
Mm.
We were up in Toronto. Were you at that? You were at that tournament, Craig, right?
Yes, I was.
He did got ripped off for point fighting because the continuous fighters. Well, no, he didn't get. Well, no. The problem was the judges were good at knowing how to judge continuous fighting, but they were terrible at judging point fighting.
Yeah.
So Ryan should have won, even though the owner of the club was like, "Dude, I don't even know what happened to you. You destroyed that guy." But he would block, and they would give the other guy a point for a block because they weren't proficient enough to do that.
Yeah.
Second, Ryan then fought in the continuous division. In the final fight, I told him to finish this in 30 seconds, and the fight was over in 30 seconds. But that's another story. But he fought a combination of point and continuous.
Mm-hmm.
And just schooled everybody there. He oh my God. He would do the continuous back away, do some large amount of shots, make people miss. And the problem with weak calf, a lot of times, the fighters, the coaches coach them to the rules.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And we know this when we watch any sport, a combat sport specifically, that are done to the rules, we know that the integrity of the yard has been compromised. And I think some of the instructors out there are like, no, I don't want, you know what, we want the art this way. We don't want them to go into this venue because it may compromise the integrity of what we're doing. And I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, our style is versatile enough to do that all the elements that you see in weak calf, if you want to do that, it's in what we do. If you want to do Largamano, we got that as well. So let us see here. Okay. I have had Tim Gillette go to the Dog Brothers. He choked out a lightweight world champion in 2 minutes with a fang choke. He got back. We played Name That Hematobo. Okay. Did I read that right? Or my eyes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he choked out. Okay. And then Terrell. Well, what style or system would you consider that does sparring? And then definitely a lot of that. Actually, I don't think any style spars. I think it's more the people in it. I think you're going to see Dose Paris spars a lot.
Yep.
But now here's the question: do you think Dose Paris spars a lot because they run weak calf?
Probably. But also we've run across some people where they don't actually do the rest of the art. They just do the sparring too.
And yeah.
And do you think, like, especially when it comes to the tournament aspect, because I know we've touched on that a little bit, North America, like if you go over to the UK, you look at like a lot of the combatant groups over there, they do a lot of those tournaments.
Now they do, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
so there's a lot more tournaments.
Well, here's what I want to say. Okay, so someone who's been instrumental in competing in combatant has been Tommy Harrell.
Yeah.
Prior to Tommy's involvement, I didn't see any sparring in the combatant group.
Huh.
Tommy really is the guy. He's the representative in Finland, Pori, Finland. He loves to spar, and I think that started the year after the camp that Ernesto, the one he passed away prior to.
Okay.
The one that we went to, and our
Yeah.
first fun trip, or not our first fun trip, our third, when Fred went with us and we had our little adventure. They started sparring after Ernesto passed away.
Okay, because I know there's a lot of
it
those
was
groups.
primarily the Europeans,
Yeah.
and so Tommy is very close with the Spanish and the Swedish group.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Torbing was doing. I know some of his guys like. I know
Andre Gross.
Osk likes to fight.
Yeah, and Andre Gross, his group.
Okay, so there's a couple of guys in there.
Yeah.
So I don't think combatant as a whole spars.
Okay.
I think individuals like Shelley Millsbog, his group likes to fight.
Yeah.
Just like we like to fight in Modern Arnis.
Yeah. I think that's what you kind of get. You got those different sanctions. There's people that fight. There's Modern Arnis people that fight, but as a whole, like that's a big focus in what we do.
And you know what? Let's flip this around. Okay. What percentage of a school competes?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a negative. The DAV does not fight. There may be members inside the DAV that spars, but I know that officially they do not fight.
Right. And then Terrell has a question. Or do you already answer that?
Do you feel that the tournaments has helped or hurt sparring because some run into each other and swinging? So
I was going to say that'd be a good one for Craig, I think, because of what we were talking about.
Craig, you start with you. Why don't we all take a shot at this one? So
there you go.
What do you think of that one?
Well, I think it all depends. Like in terms of the tournament aspect, I find with it's kind of a yes and no answer. Like sometimes when you see because basically when you go to a tournament, there's rules that you can follow. So obviously you'll got, like for the point, you get some really clean matches where it's like that blade rule. The first, and yeah, we might both hit at the same time, but it's nice clean strikes. And then you got people that will play the game, right? If I go down and I hit you in the ankle, but I turn my back and you hit me in the back is his legal target. Well, you don't get a shot, but I get the point. Then that's when you get that sloppiness. And then same thing,
Playing to the rules.
Yeah, playing to the rules. I find like when we've gone to La Valero, is we had that 5, the maximum hit rule where you had to actually counter, so you just didn't have two guys just wailing on each other with padded sticks.
That's I had to jump in.
Yeah, exactly. But that cleaned up the aspect and made the sparring much better. Where I remember before we kind of really pushed that. I remember the couple terms. I think that was the one where the guy actually ended with the broken hand, broken finger with padded sticks, and it was just two guys just going to town on each other.
I think what happens is it's all about the rules.
Yep, exactly.
That's really what it boils down to. If the rules, no matter what you're going to do with sport, it's going to, there's going to be compromises. Okay. So what Craig was saying is that what I do in my Lob and Lara, which I haven't done since COVID, is that we have a 5-shot rule when we're doing continuous. So you cannot do more than 5 shots without having a disengagement or a block. So if I go 1, 2, block, 1, 2, block, and I'm not just throwing a block up in the air. Someone's got to be hitting me. As long as I do it defensive or I move or whatever, I'm trying. If it's just rock'em sock'em robots, then we break. We have to break them, and then eventually we'll either we'll penalize or disqualify. Because the whole idea is, if it was a real stick, there's no way in hell you would do this. What was the match, Craig? The live stick with was it Eric Noss or was it?
Well, that was with Michael and Eric. Yeah. Yeah.
So Mike, what's Mike's last name?
Johnson.
Mike Johnson and Eric Noss did a live Dog Brothers fight. Live stick, goggles only. They landed a 2-minute match, 3-minute match, and they only landed like 3 or 4 shots total because neither was willing to commit. And here's the thing. Take this however way you want. Those weak half sticks that everyone's using. Oh, when someone made a comment, I was talking to, I had some sticks that Lisa Polito came to Buffalo, and she did some stick fighting. I pulled up a hunk of rattan. Oh, you'll kill somebody with that. Because what they do is this balsa rattan crap that sucks. When there is no consequence to your sparring,
right.
See, the problem isn't, there's too many things. Okay, so the Americans will tell you the light stick is for safety. The Filipinos will tell you it's to make better money because the sticks will blow out. Okay? The fact of the matter here is when I can stand there for a round and let you hit me for 1 or 2 minutes and I'll still be standing when you're done, then what's the point?
Yep.
That's the problem I have with WCAF and GSBA. I don't want to put it all on WCAF. Global, they split. WCAF is one side. World Kali Eskrima Arnis Federation. GSBA, Global Stick and Blade Association or Alliance or whatever it is. Okay, there was a split. There's two. It's like so they got. I forgot the word. Symbiosis or whatever. Boom, done. Okay, so now the problem you run into is when there's no consequence. What happens? So, and yeah, he likes those rules. But the thing here is, a lot of those guys, I will take. Okay, they won't fight with the sticks that we use. Yeah. That's really what it boils down to. Mm. And we don't fight like that because of the sticks we use.
Right.
See, there's the whole thing. You want to have. Okay, so Terrell, you want better fighting? Use gear that's going to hurt you.
Things you have to have something that reminds people there's a certain amount of respect you have to have for the risk. Whether it's from the weapon in your hand or whether it's from any other part of the fighting.
Here we go. Hey, I already know the answer. I don't ask questions I don't know the answer to. Hey, Craig, Which do you think hurts more? Getting hit with a power shot in weak calf, or getting hit with a power shot with our hit sticks? What do you think?
Oh yeah, the
What?
hit sticks. The hit sticks. Oh yeah.
You mean the padded stick hits harder than the rattan stick?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
If you got armor on, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the rattan stick is lighter than the padded stick.
Oh, there
So
you
just
go.
for mass alone, it's going to be more painful.
And
Okay, here we go.
I think Renee has a great point there.
I think when people sparring or fighting tend to focus too much on stick fighting instead of it being the fight and stick in your hand. Yeah.
Yep.
That's speaks to that respect to the for the damage and risk, whether it's from anything.
Exactly.
You know, yeah. We talk about when we're doing doubles. I constantly talk about double stick training in the club, in our art. And I think the modern day application of double weapon fighting is really to get the live hand engaged. You know, stick and dagger is about sticking and stabbing, which is actually a punch. It's not a stab.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to do things to. Okay, we have 9 natural weapons on us: hands, feet, knees, elbows, and head. You put a stick in your hand. Craig, tell them, how many weapons do you have now?
For almost everybody, one.
One, because they focus on the stick. They go, ooh,
That's right.
boom stick, or put a blade, shiny. Everyone throws out everything they know. Time and time again, we've had people from all different styles come down and play sticks with us. And I'm talking even Kempo and karate and Taekwondo. And you put a stick in their hand and they forget the 20, 30 years of martial arts training they've been doing. They forget how to throw a punch and a kick. That when they throw a kick, I hit them with a stick. So maybe that's part of the problem. But
Well, if you don't train that way, you're going to do that. I mean, that's one of the things I actually like. I'm going to speak up for my kung fu friends. When we have 2-man sets, and that's not sparring, don't get me wrong, but when we have those, we're inherently always mixing the weapon with the elbows, with the feet, with the hands, with the headbutts. All of that's built in to be mixed. So hopefully, if those guys ever spar, and if they're doing it right,
motor memory.
It's in their motor memory, right?
And the sport doesn't allow people to punch or kick.
No.
Right.
But
Exactly.
like Dog Brothers, so what people understand,
Got all
is
the things.
not a sport.
Right.
It is 2 people agreeing on some form of combat to test stuff.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Scrimmage.
There we go. Tim, you just brought up what I was going to say about the live hand. Yep. Well,
And
because I'm the Datu, Terrell.
and if you look at basically any kind of tournament based for weapons fighting, the live hand doesn't get involved, because look at when we went to Finland. How many times did I get called for checking? Because I kept on checking the hand, because that's what we do, and that's
right.
That's a big integral part of doing the contact stick fighting.
Sure.
with the Dog Brother groups and all those guys. You got to get that live hand engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of gear, I once started to fight without gloves and pads, etc. I started to move a lot more intent. Yep.
Yeah.
That's another great point from
Yep.
Renee. I haven't met him. I just only met him on the show. Now I want to meet him even more.
Okay. So when I used to spar a lot in tournaments, they said you had to wear gloves. So I had a pair of Under Armour gloves. You know, there's no padding on Under Armour gloves.
Nice.
So I'm at the Pacific Island Gathering in Metro Chicago area, and I'm fighting a lightning guy. So we're stick fighting. Took the guy down, went well, but we're knife fighting. So I try to do this little C cut, fake high and go low, single Sinwali, right? Well, I didn't know that lightning is very explosive. So I go to move, and this guy just explodes on me.
Yeah.
I end up punching him in the weak half helmet with my gloved fist. It changed my demeanor completely, and I got a video of it. I'm like, oh, look at that. That's when I'm crying on the inside. This is me crying like a little 5-year-old. Actually, it's more like a 2-year-old, but I didn't want to go that night.
Well, but I bet you the lightning guy appreciate it, because most of them are pretty game.
Let me see here. Does anyone ever? Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. Yep.
It gets ugly. Hey, Ken, how you doing,
It's
my
not
man?
pretty. It's not pretty.
See, Joe, some people can actually be seen using Facebook. Although I don't know if we don't have face on Facebook, but I don't. Yeah. So I think another issue, like you said, well, so first of all, Ty, ask Craig. I am different. Okay, I am different.
So we're all the same since we're all different.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, there's different, and then there's Renee.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
You know what? Let's put it this way: Renee would fit in the crew very well. You know, it's sort of like Chad. He's that other different.
Right.
Oh, look at that!
Speaking of different,
Evan. Hey. How's that hole doing?
G and Bobby's friend.
Oh, I have to say that for Bobby.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Craig is pretty solid.
Double stick. I got a long way to go to hold them on. Okay. Here we go. This is going to be interesting. Fencing saber cleaned up my Arnis and boxing. When I first learned, I rolled up a newspaper and rattan. Then shirtless folks fighting constant. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Kind of scary. Yeah, it is. That's scary. You know, so I did the SCA fencing. Medieval reenactment. It wasn't quite HEMA. I mean, it would fall in that category so for those who don't know what HEMA is, historical European martial arts. Not quite the same, but compared to Filipino martial arts, it's in that same vein. But using that long-range weapon really helped me. Well, I mean, I went in there I like the medieval stuff, but really I went in there because I was doing Arnis. And I was trying to figure out the reason why I did the fencing is because I wanted to see what the Filipinos were dealing with. So actually when George I met through the SCA, and now he's a longtime student. He actually gave me that rapier that's on the top of my shelf. And
people should know too, there's two tracks of SCA. There's the
heavy weapons,
sparring heaven with the padded heavy weapons, and then there's the fencing track.
Yeah. I was doing the fencing track, and so we would fight, and we took turns. So I put the fencing gear on, and I gave him the saber, and then he had the stick fighting gear, and I had the sticks.
Okay.
To the Filipinos versus the Spaniards, because I look so Filipino. I fit the role.
You jumped out there and screamed "Lapu, Lapu."
The only thing I had is I had reach because I was taller than the average Filipino. So, but the thing was, it definitely changed in my range perspective. Well, we were talking about this the other day. I mean, I end up at the tournament or the seminar. I ended up winning the World Seekeron Championships, and I think I owe more than anything else to my stick fighting because of range management. Question for Craig. Any weapon that you haven't fought yet that you want to try?
I like it.
Oh, I think I know what that's going to be.
Jeez.
I know what it's going to be.
Chain whip.
Nope.
I already did. Actually, at the tribal gathering in
a chain whip or a latigo?
I did a chain.
Oh, okay.
Chain.
He didn't do a whip. He did
do a whip.
A real chain.
Anarchy.
Yeah. For that, real chain.
I know
actually, you know what? The one actually, and Badger Jones and I keep on talking is pretty well the only thing we haven't done is we haven't done staff.
I know one
Staff
you want to do.
Staff is tough. Like so in SCA, right? They won't let you do both ends of the staff because it's just very heavy, very powerful, right?
Yes,
you do it right.
I've seen some people slit open. Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
I know. Oh, hold on. Jeremy says African whip.
Ah, there you go. Good to play with. Yep.
Dean Branco.
Go.
Yeah, so I know I haven't done. I know staff is on my list to do.
You ready?
I got one. I got one for him. Which one are you gonna go?
I'm gonna. Well, he should.
I was gonna go brick.
Oh yeah, do the Philippines.
Yeah, the Filipino brick.
No, he wants to do shield.
Oh, shield be awesome.
Okay.
Angry shield because you were talking to George about it.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I've done buckler, but
but the angry shield where you come in and use the shield as an offensive tool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The problem with the buckler is it's like a garbage can lid. It's got a handle on it.
Yep.
You want to put a shield on your arm that you can move around and do stuff like that.
Yep.
Hey, Dean, thanks again for stopping out last night. And listen, this Sunday, we're doing a second part of the FMA professional schools or commercial or whatever, full-time schools, as in a school that supports itself doing Filipino martial arts. And if you want to increase the size of your club or do this professionally or whatever, check that out. And here we go. How do you pronounce that? Sembach?
Jambak. Yeah, it's a flexible. Yeah.
Dude, enough with the garden hose. No. Dude.
Yeah, I know.
Is it Saturday? Oh, you guys are killing me with the show. I thought he just said, dude, someone's dyslexic. Dyslexic. Which means it's probably me. Hold on here.
Hey, Jason, I saw you just came on.
Yeah, Dean, hold on here. Hold on.
No, but there's some interesting stuff there, right? I mean, heck, you've seen Craig, you've seen that thing. I've got the Stinger.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to spar with that.
No. You know what? And that's the one thing is with the venues and the gathering, as well as the beat the crap out of cancer, it's been basically what you agree with. Okay. And always within reason. Actually, there was one gathering, it was double stick against a cross stick.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, we're in Canada, right?
Okay. All right, so real quick, Mr. Dean Franco. What Ace wrote was, I have it on the 6th, which was Sunday. Okay. Which would be this coming Sunday at 7:00. And you said, sure, 7 works. Let's sat if you guys are okay. Oh, okay, I didn't see that. My bad. See, I don't get to read all. You guys start talking, you don't tell me. You know what would probably work best, Dean? Okay, so it'll be Saturday. We should do maybe we should do if you have Google Calendar, do a Google event calendar to invite us to it so we have it in our calendar. So that's what I normally do, but I don't have everyone's email. So that was my bad because I didn't get to run. My calendar says Sunday at 7. Well, it might be changing to Saturday. Let's do okay. Jason Arnold, hey buddy. Hey, they're changing the restrictions on coming over the border, and you still can't come. So, anyways, damn Renee, that's loco.
Yeah.
I use toilet brush and fight. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, on the 7th, my mouse is getting shitty weapon, Jason. That's on Friday. Yeah, I got the Friday part right at 5:30. I knew that.
Renee with the punishment.
I mean, I could do Saturday at 7. Either one, that works fine. So evidently, it is a new day. It will be Saturday. The 5th will be the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what happens. So anyone who messages me in a message thread, once it starts messaging a lot, I mute it and walk away because it blows my phone up. Because I've got like 5 different, probably got like 10 different message groups I'm in on Facebook Messenger. And it just kills my bat. Ding, 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 ding. So I don't see any of this stuff. By the time I go back, the pertinent information's gone. Okay, so I think we got to all the key things. I think we agree that some of the reasons, let's go one of the reasons, Filipino martial arts is usually a secondary art for most people. Yep. Most people. Mm-hmm. And there's that financial investment for gear that you'll use once in a while. Awesome. And maybe the instructor that knows that has you there temporarily would rather work on technique over fighting. Mm-hmm. Because there's this stigma about continuous fighting and weak half style fighting. People may have backed away from it. Not that you can't do it in a good, clean technique, but it's not conducive to all styles, I'd say. Where point fighting is a little more, there's other ways we can do sparring that will be a little more conducive to other systems of fighting. Yeah. Continuous has a tendency, when there's no consequence, has a tendency of leading into sloppiness. Yeah, like I said, when we had that live stick, no gear dog brother match, I watched the whole thing. It was awesome because there was respect because, they had no choice. It was a real weapon. Yep. Using weapons that are safe don't always lead into proper sparring. Mm-hmm. And padded sticks can do more damage than a live stick. If it's an action flex stick, the hit series, will definitely lay a bigger whooping on you than a weak half stick.
Yeah,
and then weak half wears all that armor on top of that.
Yeah, and then there's it. And a lot of times with the padded stick, if you don't have that proper context, you don't respect the weapon as much.
Well, there's the other problem. You know,
people will take a shot to give a shot.
Yep.
And that's why I like point.
Yeah, and when we spar, like obviously, like when I go to gatherings and stuff, we're gonna match equivalent weapons. Like I'm sparring with 1 1/4 inch sticks. You don't want to give a shot to take a shot.
You know, and listen, and the thing here is that you've got men, women, children of all shapes and sizes, and if you're doing hardcore sparring, who's going to want to do that? We all got to go to work. Well, actually, this is my work, but at the end of the day, here's what you got to think: if there's such a consequence that not being able to go to work is a potential.
Yep.
Okay. We know everyone does. I mean, there's so many people who do white collar boxing and kickboxing, which basically is cardio kickboxing and boxing.
Yep.
So Ron Browning, who's a very good friend of ours, we love Ron Browning, one of the best martial artists I've ever met, fought for Don King.
Yep.
Ninth Dan and Sansu Kung Fu under Jimmy Woo, who's been in movies, used to let Chuck Norris use his gym for this TV show Walker, and wait for it, trained and cornered Guy Metzger to become the UFC champion.
Yep.
And the first thing he tells me is, dude, like 3% of my members actually fight.
Yep.
Yeah, I got Golden Gloves boxers. You know, okay, I got 300 students or 200 students. I got 5 guys that do that. The rest are just white-collar martial artists who love the activity and just don't want to get hurt. So when you got that and you make your sparring to the level that would scare potential students away, why would you do it?
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I do all aspects. Like that's what I said. All those different types of fighting have something that you know. Yeah, no kidding. We know that. Yeah, wait until Renee tells you.
Didn't Renee put like a huge sliver through his hand or a nail through his hand a couple of years ago?
He's got a few stories of those.
He said that's the next weapon he's going to use with you, Craig, is a nail gun.
Yeah. Well, I definitely need to steal that weapon I was talking about. Because I do padded sparring, I do point sparring, I do padded continuous, I do padded live, I do just light drilling sparring. Everything has an attribute, and not everything is for everybody. You really think if I advertise that all I do is contact stick fighting with live stick with kids, I'm going to get a bunch of parents wanting kids to fight? No way.
Right.
But I've got all the kids pumped now that I'm actually able to sit there and start sparring and everything.
Right.
They are so wound up because I got a big rack of padded gear that they can fight with.
Well, actually, I want to take that one step further. So, I think we both agree that all the various types of sparring, if they're a legitimate scrimmage, have some merit in terms of sparring and fighting training. I'll take it one step further, which is, guess what? Unless you are out there doing real, actual life or death combat, everything that's not that is a simulation. So what's the best way to understand something you're simulation is to look at it from all the different ways you can. So you've got all these different kinds of sparring. That gives you the most understanding of the really real situation, rather than if you only do one type. And I don't even care if it's full contact stick, bare stick only. That's still going to be different, than the real thing. So you need to see more.
Well, here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna smack them all down, and then build them all up at the same time.
There you go.
But first, let me do this. As an athletic level of honesty, sparring is most formats. That's a culture to infuse your club and every member. I see my kickboxing coach do it. Craig is also no different. Okay, so here's the way.
That's good. We should keep him.
Yeah, okay. Wait, Craig or Jeremy?
Both. Why not?
Okay, we'll keep them both. Okay. So here's the thing. None of it's real.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So and there's a bunch of Dog Brother guys too that I like, and sometimes I don't agree with certain things. Besides Craig. Well, no. Here's the thing: is like what a lot of people, I've talked to some guys that are, listen, any methodology you go down, you're going to find the fanatics and then the people who drank the Kool-Aid on top of which, okay? None of it's real. If you're wearing any kind of gear, it's not real. There's real contact with the Dog Brothers, but it's not real context.
Right.
There's a guy I know who does Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's a Dog Brother guy. And he's always talking about real. And I hear all these secondhand. I want to have a talk with him and have him say it in front of me, because I'm going to sit there and go, when he talks about all that real, I say, yeah, you're right. There's all real contact in everything you do, but there's not real context. None of the stuff you do is real. Because at the end of the day, when you take me down, this is what's going to happen. Okay. At the end of the day, when you take me down, this is going to happen. I have choked, bit people, gouged people, fish hooked people in the street. I haven't stuck them with a knife, and I don't ever want to. But the thing here is, everything we do is about building up different attributes. And if we realize what we're doing at the moment and don't fall into that trap of drinking too much of our own Kool-Aid, we'll be okay.
Yep.
Timing, let's take the stuff that everyone makes fun of, the sport karate, acrobatic sport karate. The suicide dives and all this other stuff. Those people are still ring generals. They know how to use every square inch or centimeter, because we're in Canada, I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, Canada's the 51st state, but whatever, No, but they know how to use every square inch of that ring. They know about timing and distancing, avoid being hitting a moving target. If you take those those attributes and apply them to appropriate techniques, then you got something. The Dog Brothers stuff. Once again, you know what? I don't want to have to fight any of those guys because they're not afraid of getting hit. And there's the other part. How many people are afraid of getting hit with a stick? And I bet you over half the FMA guys out there are afraid of being hit. Once you've been hit a few times, you're like, oh, no big deal. If you pee your pants before a fight, is this personal experience?
Mostly true. Well, then we're getting to things about fight versus combat. If two guys are getting across each other and agreeing to fight, that already is artificial. I don't even care how many things are legal. If everything's legal and they agree to do that, that's a duel. It's a little different than. Anyway, there's always differences, right? So how do you understand what you're doing? You put it in all the different ways you possibly can. And that's another part of the scrimmage, which is your exposure and what's going on here in your focus. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's all good.
Yep.
I think if you take, no matter what kind of sparring you do, there's benefits to it all, can be had and applied. It's just when you go down the rabbit hole of any of that and think that's the only answer.
Yep.
We talk about, once again, all the things we do to make us better. I will never give up Sinwali, Sombrada, Tappy, Trapping Hands, the but I do, everything that I do. I will never give up any of that because all of those things help build me to where I am today. I just have to prioritize what I need to do for what.
Yep. Agreed.
Craig, I think
that's the price tag on his cup. But actually, okay. I'm glad you said that, Tim, because one of the things I had forgotten to ask.
Renee.
Oh, take it easy, Renee. One of the things I had forgotten I wanted to ask Craig was wait a second. Say the last thing you said again. I got distracted.
Yeah,
what did I say
on that too? So, yeah.
Oh, I think it's all good if no matter what style of fighting we do, as long as we understand what we're doing and why we're doing. Because I do all these things to build me to where I am today. Right.
So what I was going to say is, Craig, we know you're big into sparring, and that's not all you do. Don't get me wrong, but I think that you fight and you see all the you appreciate all the down and dirty bits of sparring, and you're proving things in the dog kennels, if you will. But I mean, I know, and just as anybody who's worked with you, you're all in it for all sorts of details and esoteric things too as well. So how can you talk to what you see out of all of that and what the good is, and are there any connections for you that jump out? So what, why do you still do everything from the super esoteric to the super in your face, and then how do you link it all together?
I think, yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it. Is so one thing that I've been really kind of been my focus for quite a few years now is how can I take our core material, our core drills, because I like to categorize things. And if you look at, you've got block check counter, solo baston, tappy tappy, palace palace, and sombrata as our kind of a core drills, our mixing pot where you can blend, and each one will build different attributes. So one of the things that I've been trying to focus on, and is taking bits and pieces of that, and how can I apply it into a live setting? Because when you're in a structured drill, like when you sit there, say example of sombrata drill, because it's a hit back. One of the things we do is we go back and forth and go fast, fast, fast. And then where can I sneak a disarmament?
Right.
And then if I start taking those angles, can I apply it to a sparring setting? Solo baston, tappy, tappy. We go from long range to inside range. And then we start trying to mess our partner up based on the different reactions.
Okay, I gotta interrupt you.
Yep.
Dude, Eric, when are you gonna be on the show?
Please, yes, sir.
Eric, we need to have you on the show. The seminar we did this past weekend, the three of us did a great job. So your brother from another mother and your two students, we all got together. We did something. We all had a common theme, and that's knowing you, my friend.
That's
we
right.
did a great seminar out there.
I got to meet him.
And we need to get you out there. So anytime we have an Eric sighting, I stop everything we're doing.
Sure. And I would say, Eric,
Understood.
Eric, my friend, I would also say that, I don't see any reason to wait. I know that, if you got other things going on and things like that, and maybe you would love to get back more in gear and stuff. But you know what? You have experiences and memories that we'd love to share and reminisce on the show. Anyway, so Craig, did you finish what you were saying?
Russell Delay, Craig and crew checking in from California.
Hey, Russell, how we doing?
Hey, Russell.
Okay. So anyways, I'm sorry I had to interrupt.
Well, I think one of the things is, because if you look at a lot of the stuff we do, even our disarms, you're looking at reference points. It's a point in time where when you see the stick in that point in time, you take it, you grab it.
Sure.
And people that are actually can pull off disarms, and there's some people that are phenomenal out there. Like Top Dog was notorious for that. Lonely Dog is really good at that. It's seeing that reference point. And if you take our drills build those reference points so well, and then you just put that in that aggressive random setting, you start to see it.
Yep.
You start to see it, and that's been my big focus for a long time, and taking our core drills and apply it in that I got live stick dueling setting, right? Because we talked about that. That's what it is. It's stick dueling, but it doesn't matter. It's still somebody's trying to knock you out with a stick or trying to hit you with a stick, regardless whether it's battered or not. It's still gonna leave a mark, right? But our core drills pull that stuff out, but you have to pull it out. Like how many times people just do the drills because Sensei said. Right. Just do the drills because you were told to do drills, and you don't really understand what the drill is all about.
So I think what your fit said, I talk about something different. So I'm going to say this thing and see if it resonates with what you were saying.
Yeah.
So for me, some of that esoteric stuff and some of the disarms or the disarm counters or the counter, all of that stuff teaches you movements. But more importantly, I think it teaches you to, in a snapshot in time, recognize opportunities, but being able to test those under realistic circumstances, or at least more pressure circumstances, you can't do that without doing that, right? So get all the opportunities and training you want, but you got to then do something with it. Otherwise, those opportunities are probably not going to work right for you.
And you'll know when they don't work.
That's right. Yeah. So that's my big word these days is opportunities. I mean, every time somebody shows you, is like, look, this is not a technique. This is actually an opportunity that you should learn how to recognize because it can be done to you, or maybe you'll pop it off, but you don't have time to think about it, and you don't have time to do anything else other than have it, I don't know, natural. Just like being pushed when you're walking, right? You adjust. Did you have to think about it? No, because if you had to think about it, you'd fall over. So you need to get all of your material and all your opportunities the same way. And, a scrimmage is a great way to force that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that blends, that fits with what you're saying. Okay.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Just, I worded a little bit different. That's about it, but we're both saying the same thing.
Well, I think the reason I thought that might be helpful is because, sometimes two different people saying the same things different ways helps us communicate, but two, it helps everybody watching to see if there's a part that resonates with them.
Yeah, I wholeheartily agree with that.
And I'm glad that Eric spoke up because, as we all know, he was an awesome sparrer.
Yeah.
I think you would love to have sparred him back in the day.
And he was phenomenal. I mean, just overall, everything he did.
Everything.
Was great.
Yep. And not to mention teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we talked about why there's some of the objections.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, again, do the work. Do the work.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Excellent points. Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about why not.
Mm-hmm.
That was great insight. Talked about people being afraid of the stick. Okay.
Yep.
And why are they afraid of the stick? Maybe because there wasn't a progression starting with maybe potential armor or padded into a light stick, into a heavier stick or whatever. I mean, Craig didn't jump in with live stick. He worked his way up to that.
Yep.
I mean, I did. That was stupid. Live stick, no gear, no headshots. And we smacked each other because that was in the 80s and we had no gear. So we're, they were very light sticks. They weren't weak half sticks. They were, short sticks, very little. But eventually we started saying we can't do this because we're getting hurt. Uh-oh, here we go. Will you include sparring or a mini tournament at the 65th anniversary? So I would no tournament. Too much stuff going on. I got people coming from all over the place. I would not have a problem maybe notching out some time to do some sparring there if people want to do it. Yeah. There's going to be breaks. We're actually going to be breaking. We're not going to have evening sessions actually. Yeah. We're going to leave that for socialization and stuff like that. And there will definitely be opportunities for people to put gear on and go.
And often
gear.
And often at the end, even at the end, there's people tailing on, and you can certainly do that, and that way it wouldn't get in the way of anything.
There we go. And the post, there's always early and after. Position recognition, if you have good partners, lines are clear, success is higher. Random guy, even an event as a huge fudge happens.
Yep.
You know what's funny? You got to do this because Jason's nephew is self-taught, and we did something over at Diamond Martial Arts, and he literally took this padded spear, spun it around his body, and stabbed everybody with it. I was the fourth person he tried. It didn't work on me, but he tried on all three guys before me, and it happened because the chaos factor. You don't know what happens if you don't try it. Yep. And everyone's like, did you see what? We're all like, did you see that? And then people kept falling for it.
It's like Billy Jack. I'm going to put this foot right upside your head.
I will say this. Here we go. Hour and 39 minutes in. We still have 20 to. We've been averaging like 20 viewers the whole time.
Excellent.
And Jason remembers exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so I keep circling back. People are scared of the stick as one factor. There hasn't been safe training options.
Progression.
Maybe it's too much money because it's a secondary art.
Yep.
Maybe the instructors has no interest or no experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
In the areas, right? There might be nothing in the area.
On Oliver. And then, if you don't know what you don't know, how do you get gear? There's so much, and there's this stigma of, some people, they can barely get rattan sticks.
Right.
Yeah.
Let alone padded gear.
Well, I liked what somebody said earlier too, which is it kind of touches on what you said, but the other thing about, so they may spar with their hands, they may do whatever their style does, but then they may not have no experience. What do you got to do with weapon sparring? And it just outside their experience, exposure, comfort level, all of those things that we alluded to, but it's a simple reason, right? They never saw it, so why would they do it?
And here's the thing. Let's think about the progression. When you do Filipino martial arts, someone took you.
Yep. Yep.
and got you up that way. And if they never taught you how to fight, I mean, here's the thing. My first martial art tournament, I started as a brown belt with no experience. That was not a good experience for me.
That'll wake you up.
Yeah, that back when it was 3 points and you were done.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, and I'm like, dude, you know, this was, and then brown belt.
Deflating.
That's not the best division. That's okay. Listen, if anyone
Those
doesn't
are
know,
the hungry guys.
yes, if anyone wants to know the toughest division, it is not the black belt division.
Right.
It's the brown belt division.
Yep.
Or at least it used to be.
That's
Oh
what
my God.
Yep.
I will spar, but I need mutual trust.
Yeah.
I think, especially when we're
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's got to be that.
So let's flip it around. We've talked about all the objections and why people haven't done it, and I think one of the biggest part, the last part, if you weren't shown to do it, okay. So Remy didn't show us how to do it.
Yep.
Okay. So since this was my art, and I was fighting everything else, I'm thinking, well, I should be fighting with a stick, so let's do this.
Yeah.
Hell, I was doing weapon fighting and backyard weapon fighting long before I got into martial arts.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys. I was one of those guys that were. I mean, if you would have saw where I came from, you're like, how the hell did that guy end up what he's doing today? It makes absolutely no sense.
Because if you look at the pink book, it has the rules, but when Professor came to the U.S., his main focus was integrating the art within your art. So there wasn't going to be that focus on sparring with it, right?
Yep. So, you know, and when people weren't committing to the art, I mean, listen, the guys, okay, what is this? Wait a minute. Oh, that was Jeremy. Okay. Browns have to prove their, yep. You know, when you look at this, the big scheme of things, Remy, Modern Arnis people are not Filipino martial artists. Let's really get down to it. They're not Filipino martial artists as a whole. They are people that Professor Price is trained to become better martial artists through Filipino concepts, infused with their base system without compromising the integrity of said base system. A small percentage of us became Filipino martial artists, like the three of us, you know. I mean, I'm going to leave Craig out of that one because he had no choice with me. but Ty, you had a choice. I had a choice. I could have joined any other martial arts school in the area and continued my Arnis training, and it would have been a fusion.
Yep.
Okay. Eric came from another system and trained it like a standalone program, which is why you have the work ethic that you have, because you showed it can be done. I came up in a full-time FMA school. That's what led me to where I am today. So when we look at these things, you know, we got to see, if you look at how everyone got to where they are, at least in Modern Arnis, they have and actually, I don't know of any combatant people, leaders when I say this, that didn't come from something else.
Okay.
And Balintawak people, hell, even Bobby Tabuada was a boxer and did karate.
Yep.
Grandmaster Bobby Tabuada did not start in Balintawak. He started in boxing and karate. Okay, so boom. So, you know, if you didn't start in this, why would you? Why, you know, you look at it as a part-time art. You're just going to work on the thing that you need. You know.
Yep.
And if you're already fighting in your primary system, you know, why would you fight in your secondary system?
Well, we've said this is when it gets, people are going to take this the wrong way, but you know, some people, for lack of a better word, admittedly, they're just trying it out. So one way to say it is dabbling. But the thing is, if you're doing that, you know, if I'm going to say, if I was going to dabble and learn some boxing moves, am I going to go get in and fight a Golden Globes guy? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to learn a couple combinations. Okay, good to go. I'm going to do something else if I'm going to be that guy. And so that's understandable, but that's another aspect. It's the same thing. We've all been saying the same thing.
Listen,
but I think
I've been doing BJJ since '90s. I wouldn't be qualified to compete in the blue belt divisions because I still haven't committed that much.
Right. Right.
I mean, I can do all the moves, but I don't have the proficiency to do that. And if and that's it. I mean, I'm a gamer. I'll do it all,
Mhm.
but I also want to make sure that I'm with the group and that person that's going to carry me through for a positive learning experience. And that's the problem is it's supposed to be a learning experience. It's not.
Absolutely.
It's not a duel. And the thing is, that's why like when people talk about, I've seen some stick fencing matches, dog brother light, stick fencing, no groundwork, and they made it a tournament division. I'm like, dude, that just doesn't work because people are gonna get twisted and try to hurt each other. I want to, if I'm gonna fight that kind of stuff. I mean, the only reason why I haven't fought dog brothers is that I am my product. This is what I do for a living, and I'm concerned that if I get wrecked. But Craig and I talk about this like at least 3 times a year. Man, I think I should go to a gathering. And then I talk myself out because this is what I do for a living, and I got to make sure I don't do something extremely stupid that's gonna hurt me because I'm not ready to do it. And like I would fight Craig because I know Craig and I could go play. I mean, we fought before. We fought padded stick and all this other stuff. So I know I could do live stick with him and I'd be fine. But I don't want to do it with Craig. I want to do with someone different.
Right.
That I don't know, that's gonna I won't have any clue what they're doing.
Mhm.
No tells that I can read.
Perfect.
Craig and I, we know each other too. I mean,
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I think you were talking about, we talked about all the reasons why people don't spar, which is, I guess, the focus of the thing. But I think if people were listening, we've covered a lot of reasons, a lot of good reasons why you should spar if you want to get the most out of your FMA training.
Absolutely.
So here we go.
The type of sparring, right?
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not having a clear curriculum and sparring progression, I think, is the hindrance to getting back into Arnis. However, I live in Hoover, Alabama. We have SIAC instructor in the area, but that's it. Okay. So let's talk about the other side.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about why Modern Arnis doesn't fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all 3 of us fight. My school's a fight. Actually, so we figured that maybe Remy might have had like 80 to 100 people who fought total, and about 60 of them came out of my school. Because it was a fighting school. Do you think? Okay, so Craig, you have fought a whole bunch of styles out there. You've even done Lameko with Roderick Boulis.
Yeah.
You've been around. We've been around. You've hung around me when I've dabbled with everybody and all the styles out there. And the question here is: do you think that besides specific techniques, do you think that is there anything out there that we need to be able to do this, or do we have all the tools already?
In my opinion, I think we have all the tools. And that's one thing like we were talking about earlier is I'm taking the tools in our tool bag, so to speak, and working to apply them. And it's not just apply them and see if I can pull it off once in a while. It's trying to be that technical fighter and pulling off the stuff regularly. Making it part of my repertoire. That's my go-to technique and everything else, and not just see, man, I was lucky to get that. Yeah, and I feel we do. And again, cross training and other stuff always gives you that different insight, those different attributes that enhance on your core art. This is hence why we cross train all the time. But in terms of our core material, I feel we have it. But it's whether you have the insight to be able to pull the material out and use it.
Well, and do the work. I think one thing.
And do the work.
Yeah,
And do the work.
Do your work.
I think, you could easily, maybe you want to be a brawler and you want to spar that way. That's fine and cool. But I think if people watch you, I think people can see the results of when you put in that work and internalize the parts you want to internalize.
Yeah.
It shows.
So as far as Jeremy goes, yeah, that's where I would have gone if I'm doing it. But I also go with what Jason says here.
Yep.
I will use a risk reward system before I engage with insanity. Injuries I can't afford to pick up,
Yep.
try to pick up and I should close. Yeah, I get that.
Absolutely.
I'm in that same mindset, and we got
Heck,
the
I
tool
sit on a
training methodologies.
And
Heck,
that's why all
like
the
a-
different aspects of sparring
Yep.
are not sparring is important, but
Yeah.
depending on the intensity is where you want to go.
Well, and I told the guys this in class today. Okay, the last time you fought, the previous time you fought before COVID, you had your hand broken in the first round, right? Or
I
the
think
first
it was,
day.
Yeah, it was the first day.
And then you still fought a second day with a broken hand, not knowing.
7 fights to set. Yeah, that was actually at the tribal gathering in BC.
Right.
Yeah.
And then was it 2 weeks later you found out it was broken?
About 4 days later, I
4
went
days
to
later you found it was
yeah.
broken. Okay. So first of all, the whole mindset of smashing the hand will make you drop the stick is a fallacy. There is no go-to. When I get my hand smashed, I squeeze harder to make the pain go away. Guess what? It doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
It's still there.
It was there the next day, and it was there on my flight back to Ontario.
I've been hit on the nubs here of the radius and the ulna bone.
Mm.
Actually, Jim Birchfield was in Buffalo with Rocky, did an abanico there. Poof, my hand opened right up. But I've been smashing the thing. Now, I've had some people that, well, let's go say it. Some people are just big wusses. And there was a guy who was a big karate master. Oh, I could do this, and we hit his thumb on accident with an abanico. That was it. He was done. He dropped the stick and all this other stuff here. So yes, there are people who. Well, the thing here too is like when the karate guy does stick fighting, they don't have the same condition. Now they get hit in the ribs with side kicks and round kicks. I'm like, man, you guys are tough. I would never take that. But then we're like, wait, you just got hit with a 2x4. Yeah, it's different. It's different. Craig, you animal with a broken hand. But then see, now here's the thing. Like, I don't want to have a broken hand. Not that I'm a wuss, but I'm teaching all the time.
Yep.
Craig he went down to Florida and he did a workshop and he had to go left hand, which I can do left hand, but I usually use the right hand for my mouse, but I'm bumped. So so anyways, the thing here is that, I want to make sure that, like I said, I'm the product, and I'm 56 years old, turning 57 in May. I don't heal the way I used to. And like I said, I'm not scared of it. I've done some pretty hardcore shit, it's just that, and Eric got my joke. But, the fact of the matter here is that we got to look at the big scheme of things and stuff. But I mean, personally, here's now when we say why modern Arnis people don't spar, because they choose not to. Okay. Can they do it? I think we have listen, all you need is the angles of attack. It's not like it's rocket scientist.
And to move around.
There we go. And we do that,
And basic blocking.
And as far as let's say if you learn I don't want to. When I say this, it gets misconstrued. If you learn the entire system, as in all the aspects of the system, not necessarily all the material of the system, I don't think there's anything out there that we don't already do. I've gone to LeMaco workshops. I see all the stuff that we do. When we're over I've stopped by Fishkill, and it was funny. I was watching Jack Latour doing a knife thing, and I'm like, "Oh, welcome to Modern Arnis 101," because it was all the disarms were basically standing center lock and side by side and backwards throw. Now, listen, I'm not saying it's our art. I'm saying all the reference points were stuff that we already did, and I'm not saying we do it to that depth of execution either. But what I'm saying is, if you look at the building blocks, there's nothing out there that we don't have. We just don't necessarily go that far with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just personal preference. We've got everything that we need. And actually, to be honest with you, I think most Filipino systems out there are in the same boat. I think most martial arts will say, oh, it's as complete as the people training it want to be. Okay, well, we don't do this. No, you don't train these scenarios. If you train this scenario with the material you have, you might be able to repurpose the stuff you have for different things.
That's the other half of the saying, what's the best art out there. Well, it's more the
The one
teacher's
you do?
more important. Well, the one you do, but the teacher's the most important part of the art. The details of the art, that's the other half of what you're saying. It's what you put into it is more important.
Concepts are universal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was talking to a Kempo guy today. Go figure. A couple Kempo guys today. And one of which is the one that about the one that we were just talking about, not
Yep.
Rob Guida.
Yep.
So we talked about, hey, what's this? Oh, that's a down block. What would you do that against? Oh, I do it against a kick. Okay. So I said, all right, grab my wrist. Then I had Rob grab my wrist. Okay, look, I can use this to break my grip.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute, you grab my shoulder. I can do that down block as a backward throw, an outside wrist lock.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more uses for the movement. And it's, you look at, okay, let's take a left turn. George Dillman, his big thing was showing applications of forms. Applications that people didn't think or weren't shared.
Mm-hmm.
And it made you think. Now, then he did the no-touch, Crocodile Dundee, Xena, such stuff. Okay, that he went off the rails on that. But when he was doing Bunkai, the application of the movements of the forms, he was spot on. And the funny thing was like, I know that some people were saying that he had more filler than a prison house meatloaf. I'm like, dude, I don't know how much more is out. I met Taiko Yada, the guy he got a lot of stuff from. Taiko was amazing. I saw him before he passed, and he was amazing. And he made, and I was just listening to a couple words here and there, just made me think about everything completely differently.
I'm wearing a shirt from a Taika guy.
Ah, yes, you got, yep. There we go.
Our friend Alex.
Yeah. So Alex, if you're watching,
yep, this is it. Where's my $5?
There we go. It's sponsored by this show. Sponsored by. Well, I'll do that at the end. So, okay. So you've done LeMaco.
Yep.
You see a lot of similarities.
Absolutely, and
you've been around
the attributes. Every a kick is a kick, a punch is a punch. An angle one is an angle one. But every system and every school has a different emphasis on how they teach it, how they train it, how they work it. So LeMaco's got their specialty, right? But the reason I can grasp, I like the material because I can relate it to what we do.
Okay. Do you feel, as someone who's cross-trained, because, anyone who's been part of, anyone who hangs around me, they have no choice but to get experience with all this. They're going to see all these other things. Yeah. I'm going to drag them around with me, and we're going to do everything from, Arnis, Jiu-Jitsu, Bondo, DL, you name it. Everyone's going to see it. Do you think there's anything out there that we really... Did we need to see that? Or did that just give us a better appreciation for what we're already doing?
I think the latter.
Okay.
I do. And that's the one thing that's important to get exposed and go out there and work with the other groups is to probably get that point across, right?
Okay. I like to tell my students that it's not the curriculum, but the training method. Everyone has a similar curriculum, but the scenarios and the methods are different. Thoroughly enjoying this dialogue, gentlemen. Thank you, Russell. Do I know Russell?
So Russell is part of the Ghost group. He's Ghost Looks of Combat. So he's part of the training group.
Where is he at?
He's in Northern Cal.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Russ, friend request me.
Yeah,
there you go.
If you're a friend of Craig, well, actually, wait a minute. If you're a friend of Craig, maybe I don't want
I got to give that guy credit. He gets up. I get up at 7 in the morning on Sunday, 7:30 for classes. He's up at 4:30 doing these classes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Good you. You know what I'm doing 4:30? On wood. So Modern Arnis has all the elements to do this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Just if we want to do something, we got to train it. Oh, shots fired. Here's the deal. At the end of the day, I think all the systems can do everything out there they choose to. They got to just put it in their mind if that's something they want to do. Why don't You see a lot of FMA systems. I mean, everyone says they're fighter, but why don't you not see certain ones do it? Because I don't know. It could be fear. It could be lack of access of equipment or material. You know, I don't want to open up. I don't want to open up a can of worms. Okay. Well, no. Okay. So there's people in certain communities, certain sports are easier accessible than other sports.
Yeah.
So when you watch people playing water polo, it's usually a higher brow crowd. When you're playing polo in general, you got to own a horse. Some communities, poorer communities, there's a lot of people who are talented that can play soccer, basketball, or football because all you need is a ball. When you're playing baseball, you need enough mitts for the team to go out and field. And you need a baseball bat and a ball. But like when you're playing football, you only need one football. When you're playing soccer, you only need one of the other football. And the problem here is sometimes the Filipino martial arts attracts a community that doesn't have, say, the money that others do.
Mm-hmm.
And buying gear is hard. I mean, I didn't have money when I was coming up.
Yeah.
And, I was like, I for those who come into my school, hanging on the wall is my first stick. I got duct tape holding that thing together and electrical tape, all this other stuff. And that's why I sell sticks, so I don't have to pay as much. But the thing here is all my initial gear was bootstrapped together. It was all piecemeal. So, people would give me some leftover stuff and secondhand stuff. I mean, we'd go to Play It Again Sports or something to find gear. And stick fighting gear is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And if people haven't given you the opportunity of your knowledge and experience to help them figure out where to get certain things, some people get very protective and say, "Well, I'm not going to share this information." Why? Well, then they can sell this stuff. So you have different clients. Who the hell cares?
Yeah, right.
Sashi, I remember when we were starting to form a tournament team to send to Manila. We only had a pair of protective gloves for 10 people. It was tough being in the province, but it kind of gives you more determination to succeed. Yep.
Well, remember when we were in the Philippines, like when we were looking at all the different gear, even when, GM Bandit was showing us a lot of the stuff, like there was a lot of equipment.
It's stinky.
Yeah.
Well, now there is. Oh my God! So
Yeah.
Craig and I. It's funny. So Craig and I met with Bam. It was like it wasn't when we sparred. It was before. It was the trip before. It was like you, me, and Fred, and we met with Bambit and Renee Thompson, and they're showing all this gear. So they give Craig and I the padded sticks. So we start smacking ourselves with the padded sticks. Yeah, this isn't bad. And then they start pulling all the armor out. And I'm like, what the hell is that all for?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They go, and if you want, it's funny. If you want to see people armor up, watch the Filipinos. Here's the motherland. You would think that they have the least amount of armor. They're hardcore and all this other stuff. Holy cow! There's not a part of their body that's not padded. And then, of course, when we fought last time there, we have the sticks, the STIX sticks, the padded sticks.
Yeah.
Before anyone does padded stick fighting in the Philippines, let me give you 2 bits of advice. First of all, the padded sticks are padded rattan sticks. Know that.
Yep.
Okay. There's the first thing. You got to know what the stick is. Secondly, you want to go early, not last, because by the time you get the stick, the padding is all deteriorated.
Exactly. How do you know that again? And what part of you knows that?
Yeah, what part? Yeah, what part?
Okay, and then the third one. Okay, I was going to say 2, but 3. A padded stick still hurts when it hits in the groin.
Yeah, that's right.
When you're not wearing a cup. And how do I know that? Because I was that guy, and I actually shared that on one of our shows. Yep. And I remember we talked about it when I first was doing Datu's Corner, and then some guy goes, "Hey, by the way, do you spar?" No, you freaking moron. I just did a whole hour show that I do sparring. And of course, 3, 2, 1. There's the dumbass question.
But so I wanted to say hi to Sachi. Sachi,
Here we go.
I'll pat it. Yeah.
Boom! All correct, Datu. Yeah.
But I wanted to say hi to Sachi. Sachi has been to some of my gatherings.
Okay.
I know him through Angelo. I don't know if you've met him or not.
No.
Anyway,
sure.
good guy. Anyway, good to see you.
Is he here in the States?
He was. I think he was visiting. I'm not sure. Where are you, Sachi? It'll take a while for it to pop up, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's
So,
so
like I said, I know him through Angelo. So he's remember, I think I mentioned before, he's related to GM.
I'm in New Jersey. Yo,
Luna Lima. So he's like a nephew or something of Benjamin Luna Lina.
hey, I'm friends with him.
Okay, there you go.
Facebook friends. Actually, I'm supposed to go down to New York City soon for a seminar.
Well, there you go.
Let me see here. I'm looking at. Oh, he hung out with the Islanders of Screama out in Stockton, in California, the Bay Area. Let me see here. I'm going to look at his profile. I'm stalking him. We're Facebook friends, so I can do this.
There you go. Yeah, but you would like him. So if you get a chance, and he's in New Jersey.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I know him. You know, Sachi, you need to shave more. Oh, there he is. There he's with shave. This must be pre-COVID and post-COVID.
Well, there you go. He might drop by the New York thing if the timing works out. Logistics.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I think we've all. Hey, Sachi, have you been over at the Alan Goldberg event by any chance in Atlantic City? You look really, really familiar. Other than you're stalking me on the internet. LOL. Okay, Max Fuller. Hey, we know Max.
Hey.
Yeah. So Max, yes, the date's confirmed. It's going to be April 30th, all day, and at the new location, the Providence Pavilion.
Yeah, he came to it last time, right?
That's right. Same place as the one you were at last. So April 30th, and I'll start posting to the group that's planning.
Craig, are you looking at your calendar?
Yeah, unfortunately, April, I'm off the grid there because of work.
April doesn't exist in Canada?
No, not this year.
Okay.
No
worries.
This is the spring fling.
Yes, spring FMA thing. So there you go. There's a plug for you. Thank you, Max.
It's a thing or a fling?
Oh yeah, so he did meet you at one of my gatherings. Sachi did. So there you go. Good. I thought you guys had met.
Okay. Oh, the little tournament. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You brought some awards or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The first time. Yeah.
Virginia. There we go.
Okay.
And Angelo had to just leave and go to Israel or something.
Bastard.
I know.
Okay, so
Virtual
I got on my calendar the weekend after the symposium.
There you go. Well, now we're rambling, but yes, Jeremy, if I do a virtual option, I will do it better than the one I did for Roel's because it takes a while to figure these things out for a slow guy like me.
Datu Hartman.
Datu Hartman. Yep.
Hey, baby. That's not great. Although it's getting a little rant. I gotta get the girl who does my hair has been on vacation, so I gotta see when is the fring of my haircut. As I prioritize what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Yeah. I gotta meet tomorrow. Yeah.
We've been rambling a little bit, Craig. Is there anything
next week Thursday? Oh my God, I'll be Shaggy DA.
There you go, Craig.
Jeremy,
anything else?
I enjoyed it. Okay, so
I want to open the floor up some more for Craig to make sure that he gets anything else he wanted to say, or maybe he wants to poke at us, whatever he wants to do.
Well, before we go, we're going to follow up with Craig again because this was not about Craig.
No, right.
This is about the topic. He's a special guest. We are going to feature him.
Yes,
because he's one of the instructors at the upcoming 65th anniversary camp.
Which I think I would encourage everybody that's a great reason to go. Just because I think Craig, if you haven't trained with him, you should, and you will enjoy the heck out of it. So that's all I'll say about that.
Thank you.
No, it's not. You're going to say more.
That's probably later on, though.
Later on.
Yeah. I'm a Craig fanboy. How's that?
There.
Uh-oh, you're scaring me. Very, very scary. So, Craig, how do people get in contact with you that don't already know who the hell you are?
Well, you can basically, I've on Facebook. You can contact me through Sudbury School of Martial Arts on Facebook, as well as through the website, somacanada.ca.
Okay, cool. All right. So he's also, you could check out on the if you do. Oh, there's a different little configuration for us.
There you go.
You can also check out the World Modern Arnis Alliance Canada chapter. Craig is the Canadian director, which we'll get into more things for the World Modern Arnis Alliance. So, and here we go for future things. I'm talking about Craig here for a minute. So he doesn't. These guys don't brag about themselves. They pay me to do it for them. So, so Craig, I met him with Professor, and to be honest with you, I didn't know who he was. I don't remember him because it was Toronto. No, I mean, because we didn't have that kind of connection.
It happens. Yep.
Well, exactly. I mean, when we looked at the picture and like, oh my gosh, like Jay was there, Martinez was there, Paul.
There's a whole bunch of people that Craig knows now that had no clue. No, I mean, he was just some random karate guy who showed up.
Yep.
He didn't stick out, which is good because he wasn't being an idiot. You know, he didn't stick out in a negative way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that nail that sticks up that you want to hit with the hammer on the floor. But Craig has been with me since what, 01, 02?
Full time, I think 2005, but we've been training off and on since 01.
Yeah. So, and in my opinion, he is probably, well, in my opinion, he's the top Modern Arnis practitioner in Canada. You know, there's a lot of talented people there. Don't get me wrong, but if you want to learn Modern Arnis, if you're in Northern Ontario, that's the only downside about Craig. He's in Northern Ontario, which means every time he comes to see me, it's a 12-hour trip. This psycho used to get up at like 4 a.m, hop in a car, drive down, do private lessons, and drive home the same day. 10 to 12 hours of driving in a day. I thought I was psychotic going 9 hours in a day to Detroit and back.
That's the background part of doing your work that some people don't realize the commitment there. But that's good stuff. When we interview him, we need to make sure he has we can see his home Joe, because that is amazing. That's the way to do it right.
Como está ka, kapatid?
There you go.
Kunyo.
Magandang umaga, GM Lanada.
GM Lanada. So Lanada, Kuntao, Grandmaster.
Yes.
And then Jeremy, at least you have a good view of the falls. You suck.
Nice.
Remember, for those who don't know, the falls, the best part of the falls of the United States. Unfortunately,
you have to be the
Canada stand.
That's
we
right.
really get screwed on that deal. We got boned so bad. But listen, Craig is one of the top. He's one of the top guys in our organization. He's definitely in my opinion, the top Canadian teaching Modern Arnis right now. I will put him up on so many different levels, whether it be a teacher, a practitioner, a combatant, a competitor. He's got all the skills, and now he's in. Here we go. I keep talking about third generation. Here's the thing. I'm first generation Remy Praces. Craig is my student, which makes him second gen. His son, Evan, is a black belt who's third gen, and Jeremy, who's working on becoming, he's a black belt apprentice or candidate. I'm not sure what year. It could be 2030. Who knows? But but the thing here is Jeremy's got a training program that he's running on his own underneath Craig, and Evan teaches when Craig's not around, as well as he's taught his own seminars. This goes back to my rant at the very beginning. We need to service our community. The leaders are servicing our community. And the thing here is in our group, it's not just about Tim Hartman or the first gens like Tim and Ty, TNT. We got the second gen. Craig's doing stuff all on his own. We got third gen, and I'm looking forward to Evan and Jeremy developing their black belts. So Craig is my martial child. Evan and Jeremy are my grandkids. I want great grandkids before I go.
There you go.
I want hopefully great grandkids. Sure. Because here's the thing: if we focus more upon ourselves and we don't focus on the people we serve, there won't be anyone left. We need to increase the gene pool of what we do. We need every Modern Arnis group out there to be successful, so we have more people to carry on the art beyond us.
I think one of the most important aspects of leader is that support role.
Yeah. And if it's all about placating ourselves or doing the buddy, I promote you promote me bullshit that we've been seeing a lot lately, that doesn't serve the art, especially when we sit there and see people becoming grandmasters for what? Promoting each other, and there's a couple of people that check all the boxes, but most of them don't. And at the end of the day, the people who are helping us the most are people, the community are people like Craig and Ty, who, how many seminars were you teaching before COVID, Craig, per year?
10 to 20.
10 to 20 seminars of your own. Ty?
10 to 20, last couple of few, except for COVID, we're close to 20.
Okay. And, we've talked about a whole bunch. I've been doing 2 decades at 30 plus a year. This is the leadership of Modern Arnis. This is what we need. First generation, second generation, and hopefully, and then now with Jeremy and Evan, third generation, going out, boots on the ground, increasing our numbers.
Right.
Okay. And I'm very proud that Craig has decided that he wants to hang with us.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's and all the other people, like Jason has helped a lot over the years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Paul Doughty, who supported me. Hell, I was talking to Michael Donovan, the guy who brought it up there in the first place.
Well, that's who I got my start underneath, right? Paul, I started under Paul, and then that's when you came out. You were doing seminars at his school, and eventually.
So let's do this. If we can get Mike Donovan and I already talked recently. Actually, I talked to him today about some stuff. We're going to get him on the show for some stuff.
Cool.
I'd love to get him on in retrospect of how Modern Arnis got into Canada. Craig, if you have contact with Paul Doughty at all, love to get him on the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Jason, we're going to try to get him on the show for a different perspective of things.
Perfect.
Right now, the focal point, though, is trying to get the people for the upcoming camp because we're going to be the instructors. So we will schedule a Who is PG Craig episode. But I think that this is a topic that really needed to be addressed.
The sparring, yep.
And I don't think any Filipino martial arts system fights. I think they have people inside who choose to fight. So if you're not fighting, it's your choice. Now, your people may or may not be able to help you with that. You can always reach out and do other things. Because at the end of the day, if you're paying for lessons, you're paying for a service. And if the person there doesn't give it to you, doesn't mean you're turning your back on them if you're training with someone else in addition to. Craig has done La Meca with my blessing. I help facilitate that. He's doing Ghost, which has nothing to do with me, but there's a Filipino flair. But because we opened up doors with DL and all this other stuff, people know that we encourage you to go out and be seen and see with other people.
Yeah.
And there we go. Okay, so what we got here?
Why not? I think Sachi's taken off, or maybe he's already got it.
Well, I think we're doing the same thing too. So, Craig, do you have anything you want to wrap up with us? Anything coming up?
Well, thanks for having me on. I think we had some pretty good discussions. I think we hit a lot of the stuff that we were kind of here to talk about.
Yeah. No, thanks, Craig. That's
okay. All right. So, Craig, I'm going to take you off, but stay on because we do a post show.
Yep.
Although it's probably past your bedtime, but Craig, what time in the morning do you get up?
5.
Okay, so we make fun of him about that. We'll be right with you in a minute. So, I like the show. What do you think?
I think it was a good show, and I think people are appreciating it too. We got, the comments and interaction. People were getting today's show. I think it was a good deal.
We got 19 people watching. Yeah. So because I didn't do this in the first place, I want us to thank our sponsors, the Modern Arnis University and Vulpus Training Blades, which is in our trailer as we go. Everyone's beginning to say good night. Craig has helped me to find a kickboxing coach, and Eric's taken off. A couple things I want to talk about real quick. do have potential room. Great topics. We have to talk about this. We might have an extra spot or two in our Modern Arnis boot camp, which is a week-long camp here in Buffalo this month. That's the next thing that's coming up. We'll have to talk about that because of other issues just in general. The big one here is that we're all, as always, what are we promoting? The 65th anniversary camp. Modern Arnis has lasted 65 years, and we want to make sure it lasts another 65 years.
Yep.
We're not going to do that without your help and support. There is the FMA invasion of the Martial Arts Symposium in New Hampshire in April. PG Tye is one of the latest people who've been added to that. I'll have a flyer up for that. Actually,
I coined a term for that, right? Remember the Arnis Imposium.
The Imposium. We're imposing Arnis.
That's right.
On them.
FMA Imposium.
And then the last weekend of March, we're doing. I'm going to be in Salem. It's going to be a witch hunt or a Datu hunt. Who knows?
That'd be good. No, I wish I could go to that. But you know, I'll see Mike in May. But to give him my best for sure.
We'll do that. We'll definitely do that. Do we have a topic for next week? That would be a negative.
Oh, we don't? Okay, I thought we did, but okay.
We're going to talk about the student-teacher role, the responsibilities of both sides, or wait, how about the martial art milestones?
The milestone. Refresh my memory again.
The milestones: becoming a black belt.
Oh yeah.
How about we do martial art milestones?
Yeah, that's good. That's a nice, and plus it's a nice positive thing. I mean that
positive thing.
That's good.
Listen, and I know I get ranty, everybody. That's just who I am. Actually, here's another thing. I am going to quasi apologize. I'm going to do this publicly because we talked to Frank about this weekend, and I went down that road again. So, I am very direct when I ask questions. And when I had him on the show, because we didn't send questions, we actually have a questionnaire that we send to people. Not Craig, though. Screw him. But I can see him laughing right now off screen.
Well, we haven't done his show yet, right? This is a topic show.
Right. This is a topic show. So we'll actually have one that we'll send a list. And we didn't have that at the time. We were just doing everything freestyle because, today is episode 6 of season 2. So, I mean, half dozen for the new season, so we've gotten better.
Yep.
So I came across that he goes, I felt like I was being interrogated. Well, you know what? What is an interview?
Right. You
know the difference between an interrogation and an interview? There's no jail time in an interview.
There you go.
I'm not going to hit you but the thing here is, and after the seminar, I was asking him a couple things in general, and I was just like, boom, 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 boom. He goes, I feel like you're interrogating me. And then, you'd point out, no, Tim's just being direct.
That's how you do, yeah.
But the thing here is, it's an interview. I mean, if you listen to interviews, I'm a journalist. In essence, martial arts journalists, we ask tough hitting questions, not to try to screw someone over.
No.
It's about finding the truth. And sometimes, the problem I think with the world is we've gone from one extreme to another. We've gone to from cold and callous to too much emotional. Oh my goodness, you hurt my feelings, so you say something I don't like. Too freaking bad. Now I can be direct. I don't have to be mean about something.
Right.
When I sit there and say, and we've discussed this, I don't think that there should be more than one grandmaster in Modern Arnis at a time. Mm-hmm. Remy brought us up that there's only one. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that to insult the others. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that because this is the way we're brought up. And personally, okay, they sit there, well, you're saying this is insulting. No, let's flip it around. The way I feel? It's an insult to me that all these people are grandmasters for Modern Arnis. Now, I don't think that that's what they're trying to do, right. But it's just insulting to me. Just like they don't like what I'm saying, I don't like what they're. But you know what? It doesn't mean we still can't be friends.
Or not even that, right? There are times you could work together with lots of folks. You don't have to be friends. It's about the art and the students. A lot of times. Can you do that?
Once again, we talked about this on Dean's episode the other day. At the end of the day, if you're going to be that's why I don't care about the leaders of the community, the said leaders or influencers. I'm concerned about the community. The community is the students,
Mhm.
not the leaders. I'm not the community. I'm a leader and an influencer.
Mhm.
My job is to serve the people. It's not the people's job to serve me.
Right.
I go to you and look and let's see how I can help, so we can help each other go to the next level and bring the art to the next generation. And if I would have done what some of the others thinking that you should come to me and kiss my ass, I'd be here all alone. I wouldn't have friends like you because that's not how I roll.
Right.
So, but once again, when I'm asking questions and you're on the show, I'm direct. I don't mix words. It's not about but interview and an interrogation are almost the same damn thing if you really, really want to think about it. I just don't have a telephone book to smack you across the face with.
But I think to reiterate though, you're not trying to trip anybody up.
No,
It's just about information. It's about exposing information. Let's find it. Let's dig in.
Ty, what year did you become a black belt?
It would have been 95, I believe.
Is that in Modern Arnis?
In Modern Arnis, yes.
Okay. When was your last? Do you remember the year of your last promotion in Modern?
Yes, 1997.
Okay. And,
for Professor, 1997.
Yeah. And do you remember how many black belts you produced for Professor?
Yep. I can name their names.
Okay. So
Kim Sullivan, Abel
just
Martinez, Michael Hume.
Okay. I go, hey, Craig, how many did you produce for Professor? And the answer is 0 because he never trained. We already know what it is. Okay. But this is about clarification. So if anyone wants to be on the show, let us know. We do have a list of topics and people we want to have on board. We're setting up the 2-lane. There used to be Nolans.
Yep.
Used to be a program down there. We're going to talk about that. I have 2 people on for that.
Do we have to black out the face of one of them?
No, he's fine.
Okay.
We can let Brett on.
There you go. No. It was good seeing Brett this weekend.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So, all right. Well, listen. As always, everybody, please stay safe and stay sane.
Take care, everyone.
And Eric. We'll get. Let's talk next week because I want to talk to you about Mr. Blue as well. So, I'm going to take the banner off. And the next week is going to be about martial art milestones in your career. Both as a student, a teacher, the whole 9 yards. So, as we wrap up, I never get the right one. So here we go. Okay, you got that. All right, everybody, please stay safe, stay sane.
4, 3, 2.